You're jamming away.
Jamming away to your synth music.
My signature. But written and produced by me. I did it. That's me. That's my music. I made that. The intro and outro done by me on my little keyboard. Anyway,
Beautiful. Next
welcome.
John Carpenter.
I'm basically John Carpenter, yes. Anyway, welcome back to the Luke Deckard Show, everybody. I have Frank Ireland with me tonight.
Hello, everybody.
Saturday night. Welcome, Frank.
Yes, this is new to me. This is Saturday afternoon for me.
Oh yeah, that's right, because you're in America and I'm in jolly old England. And Biffer's in the chat. Hello, Biffer.
How could I see the chat?
Speaking of Biffer the Hobbit, you should be able to see it.
There we go. I see it.
Yeah.
I had to click the different thing. Okay.
The other weekend, I just sort of, I don't know. I don't really know how this happened, really, but I ended up watching The Hobbit, all three.
Oh God.
And like 2 years ago, every Christmas I do a Lord of the Rings marathon, right? Where I watch Lord of the Rings extended, and that's great. Well, this year, the year 2 years I think prior to this, we then tried to do The Hobbit after, and it was such a disappointment. Like, I've never loved The Hobbit. I love the book, but I've never loved the film. And going from Lord of the Rings to The Hobbit was very painful. But I don't know what it was. It was just there on, I think, Amazon, and I was like, I just hit play and just got stuck in, and I realized that it is still a pretty subpar movie.
I haven't seen any of them. Wait, that's a lie. I saw the one where the little dwarf has that Winnie the Pooh sequence with the gold.
The barrels? Yes.
No, the gold, yeah. And then Legolas does that like a Mario thing. That's the one I seen.
You know, like, I got to be honest, like, I hated Rings of Power. And one of the things I hated about Rings of Power was the ridiculous elf action. But I also hate it when Legolas does it, because it's ridiculous. It's like, we're not excusing it in Lord of the Rings or in The Hobbit. It's stupid in both. Just stop it. He's not weightless. Ridiculous. Anyway, we're not here to talk about The Hobbit.
He's weightless.
But
I know I wasn't prepared. My eyes went wide when you started talking about Hobbits. Like, I haven't seen those movies. I don't know her.
It's all right. I mean, I just seeing Biffer here, I thought I would mention it. Which Biffer says, "How dare you not like The Hobbit?
How dare you?"
Just kidding, though. And I have to admit, I do love that it bookends with taking place before the party in the Lord of the Rings and the Fellowship of the Ring. So the beginning of it where Bilbo is writing in his book.
Oh, that's where it ends. And
the beginning, the first movie opens up with him writing in the book, and then it ends with Gandalf arriving for the party in Lord of the Rings. So it's kind of bookend.
It's Halloween 2 and Halloween 1 where it picks up right where it left on. I shot him 6 times. I love it.
Do they do that?
Legolas is the Neo of Middle Earth. Oh, wait, you never saw Halloween 2? That's right.
Nope.
Oh, shit. Oh, my God. I completely forgot. I'm so used to talking to my audience who've seen Halloween 2. That's right. You haven't seen Halloween 2. So in the beginning of Halloween 2, it opens up with the ending of Halloween 1. And it has, what's his name? Loomis come downstairs and sees that Michael's not there. And then the neighbor's like, what's going on? And he says, tell him he's on the loose. Tell him I shot him 6 times. And then the neighbor's like, what? Are you being serious? I've been trick-or-treated to death tonight. And then Loomis looks at him. He says, you don't know what death is. And then the theme kicks in. I was like, yeah. So that's why I love Halloween 2. And it picks up right after. It's the same night, basically.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting. That's like Bourne. The Bourne movies. The second Bourne movie picks up. How does it work? One of them picks up like right after like one of them ends. I think it's the third. Oh no, it's the third one. The third one picks up right after the second one ends, and it's I quite like that. I like that, but Halloween, man, I've never made it past the first one.
It's like I'm a fan. I was born into it. I was bred into it. Like
I was born in the dark.
I was born in the dark. So I can't force you to like it, but I love it. I can't.
I like the idea of Michael Myers, and I like his look. Like it's a great iconic look, but it's just. What you should do is like maybe next Halloween, throw a couple of the sequels at me, tell me to watch them, And I will.
Not even. I can't.
No, are they bad though? I just found the first one kind of boring.
I don't like 4. I like
Right.
5, but people don't like 5.
Which one is 5? Is that literally one of the most newer ones, or is that like
No, 5 is the one in the 80s.
okay?
It's the little girl, she can't talk, but it's so crazy because Loomis is full crazy in that movie. Like he
Right.
wants to kill that little girl, and then like she's having visions. But the 5th one has one of my favorite sequences in it, is where Michael kills a boyfriend who's also wearing a mask. It's sort of riffing on that Bob sequence, but it's
Right.
creepier because he's driving his car in his outfit and he picks up
Right.
the girlfriend, and the tensions are high because you don't know what the hell he's going to do to this girl,
Right.
because he's just staring at her and she doesn't know it's not her boyfriend for like most of the time, but they have to stop at a gas station because she's like, I want to get a drink or a snack or something.
Yes.
And she gets saved and he ends up driving off. But that's the 5th one. It's not that great. 6th one is Paul Rudd, stupid. Then it's the Rob Zombie ones. Rob Zombie has a few interesting ideas. Like the second one is like, people don't like the second one, but it's about how they dealt with surviving the first movie, which is interesting.
Okay.
That's most of the movie, and I feel like any Michael Myers stuff in that is like reshoots. I almost feel like there was no Michael Myers in it because every scene with him seems so out of place.
Right.
And then there's the new ones, 2018.
Yeah.
Halloween Kills, and then Halloween Ends.
Yeah.
I think
those. Go on.
I think you might like Halloween Ends, if anything, because that one, it has hardly any Michael Myers in it, and it's trying to start a new thing.
Right.
Although I feel like the only problem with that movie is they should have had the character who becomes the new Michael in the first 2 movies, so it would have been like a increasing, like you'd see it, like, established.
Yes. Yeah. I get that. Mm-hmm. Are the 2 new ones meant
3.
to be like there's 3 new ones. Are the 3 new ones meant to be the new like sequels to 1? Do the others after 1 count, or do they...
No. Shane Ford just had a comment. I completely skipped over H2O and Resurrection. Oh my god, I feel so bad. H2O is actually the good one. I think you would actually like H2O. It's simple. It's that 90s era, but that one is very good. H2O, he says. What's his comment? Pull it up. Pull it up, Jamie. What's his comment?
All right. Here we go.
H2O. H2O okay is if you like Scream, and it works okay as a standalone sequel, but most of the franchise is a mixed bag. Exactly. I agree. But H2O was pretty good. It's of that Scream era, because I think it's even written by Kevin Williamson, I think.
Okay.
So, but it's okay.
Well, there you go. Then I can watch H2O and I can watch Halloween Ends and give an opinion based off of those. See if those...
none of them are connected. I think H2O is connected to the original one, though.
Oh, I see. Right.
Oh, Burford, did you get that? Pull it up, Jamie. I'm glad you did. That's good.
He did. Anyway, we're not here to talk about The Hobbit. We're not here to talk about Halloween, but here we are. It's okay though, because it's a loose structure. But tonight, a while ago, I don't know when it was, you and I Frank, started talking about sequels that I know what it was. We were originally trying to pitch an idea of coming up with...
that's right, because I was doing that show.
Yes.
Yeah.
We were thinking of sequels, like movies that we wanted to have sequels. We were trying to think of like actual pitches for that, for what the films we were thinking about. But it sort of morphed into, let's just talk about a handful of films that we like that we think should have gotten a sequel. I have a few like very simple ideas of where I would have liked to have seen things go a little bit, but not like a full blown.
I kind of have full blown.
That's okay. Yeah, that's okay. So we have 3 each that we're going to go through tonight. Hopefully. 3 from Frank and 3 from me. And we'll go every other. And I realized I should have told you what the order was going to be beforehand. But we're going to start with your one of your picks first, right?
Okay. So
we're going to go with...
Oh, okay. A simple one. Nice.
Beetlejuice.
I was a little scared. I was like, oh God, what's he going to pull up? Okay, so Beetlejuice is actually the simple one. This one, if you were to do a sequel to Beetlejuice, my idea would be either to do it animation, either do it CG or stop motion, like a Tim Burton movie. Oh, not Tim Burton. What's his name? Henry Selick.
Oh, right.
Henry Selick, the guy who did Nightmare Before Christmas and Coraline.
Yeah.
Do something like that with Beetlejuice, because then you could
Tim Burton got all the credit for.
Yep, exactly. That's why I didn't want to say Tim Burton movie. I'm like, no, who is it? Henry Selick. So if you did a stop motion version of Beetlejuice, I think that would be very interesting, because you wouldn't have to worry about age, because it's been so
Right.
long now. I don't want to see a 40-year-old Winona Ryder try to truck around with a 70-year-old Beetlejuice. It's like I want to see them around the same age, animated style, and it would match the Tim Burton aesthetic with how they look.
Yeah.
And then you would also go around how there's some issues like Otho is the actor who passed away, and then the father, he's like a sex pervert who got arrested, and then
Mm.
what do you call it?
Wait, who's
Catherine,
got a red? Her dad, the guy who plays her dad in the movie. Did.
yes, he's like a child like predator. He had like child porn on his computer.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So that's why you haven't seen him in movies since like 99, because in like 2000, 2001, he got caught. So that's
Oh
why.
crap.
So whenever you watch Ferris Bueller or all that, just have that in the back of your mind, like that dude's a creep.
Oh.
So like
Gross.
if you do it stop motion or animation, you could avoid all that. Hire new actors. And even with Alec Baldwin, I think he might go to jail now because that
No, we.
involuntary manslaughter.
Yeah.
So you could avoid like all that stuff. And I think like the interesting thing about it is in this Beetlejuice sequel is that you can go into the afterlife, that crazy world, because you only scratch the surface in it. And you could
Yeah.
sort of explore Beetlejuice's backstory because apparently he killed himself. If he was the assistant to the girl who slit her throat, so that
Yes.
means he either like drowned or something because he doesn't have anything on
Yes.
him that like he slit his throat or hands or wrists or anything.
Yes.
So you would explore his background. And
Yeah.
then I feel like maybe like the ticking clock element would be like the Lost Souls room, like that's about to break open or something and
Mm.
unleash hell on earth. So they have to stop that. And then also maybe even have to have like work in a loophole.
Yeah.
Like maybe there's other people, other ghosts that died in that house and they want to live in that house where Barb and Adam live. So they're
Right.
trying to evict them. So they don't have that 125 years to haunt the house. They only have like 25 days left to haunt that
Right.
house before they get kicked out. So you could explore all these different ideas.
Yeah.
Everyone can stay the same age. And let me check out my notes. Do I have anything? Nope, I don't have any notes on that one. Just follow that. I thought I did. I don't have any notes, but like you could just explore those ideas and then like reference like very little from the original. Like you can keep Otho, you can keep maybe even bring back the barber, bring back that.
Right. Yeah.
I think he was supposed to be in the alternate ending because like he's always talking. So it was funny that
Yeah.
he was supposed to be talking in the afterlife. But yeah, there's just I think it would be easier to do like animation or stop motion for a Beetlejuice sequel.
So your sequel, this is like you're thinking if they did a legacy sequel now, you would want
Animated.
animated. Well, I read briefly that they've tried to make a sequel over the years,
Mhm.
and that one of Tim Burton's original ideas was going to be Beetlejuice in Hawaii,
Yeah.
and they never took off. It's quite interesting, but one of my questions is why do you think we never really got a Beetlejuice sequel in the first place?
I could say Michael Keaton. I know he keeps saying he wanted to do it. I think that's him avoiding it though. And also I think Tim Burton was probably working on it, but there's so many Tim Burton movies that we never got to see. You know what I mean? We never got to, like there's so many. There's probably some we don't even know about.
Probably.
Like he was I think he was like in the running for a Jurassic Park movie even.
Really?
I think he was like one of the 5 names other than Spielberg. Even though Spielberg was like the first choice,
Yeah.
he was like the runner-ups, Tim Burton. So it's like Tim Burton has been like, working hard since the 90s, I feel.
Yeah, no, he has. I can't imagine what his Jurassic Park would have looked like.
I
don't think I want to see that. I
No.
like some of his stuff, but I don't think I want to see
Yeah.
the dinosaurs would have looked insane.
Yeah. And just I think this is like one of the last movies that he did that was like I think it was Edward Scissorhands was after this, so that was the last one. But I feel like this was like the last one of his like creativeness, like that weird creative vibe he had.
Yeah.
And then after that, it kind of work for hire kind of guy.
Yeah. There have been a few films in the last like 30 years that I think are good. Mars Attacks. Shane Ford says Mars Attack was going to have dinosaurs.
Yeah, there's a different card line because Mars Attacks was a card line. So the other card line from that same company was Dinosaur Attacks. So the cards were like dinosaurs attacking people instead of aliens attacking people. So that was that.
Yeah. Okay. It's interesting because we watched Beetlejuice today, and it's been a very long time since I've seen it. Several years. You know what struck me? What are your thoughts on the original film though? Are you a massive fan of
I
this?
think I am,
Mm,
because when I was editing that okay, so on my channel I edit like mashups, music videos, fan trailers, things like that, and I was doing a Tim Burton tribute because I realized I really liked Edward Scissorhands.
yeah, it's great.
And then I really love Beetlejuice, and I was going to do just a music video with those two, but then I realized I love his movies, so I really do like Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice is probably my favorite of his movies, even though his best one's
What?
probably Ed Wood.
Ed
Yeah.
Wood, yeah, yeah, yeah. It was fun. There were bits of it that I loved,
Hmm.
but then there were. It's funny. Beetlejuice is quite.
He's not
He's a
really in
hard.
it.
He is hardly in it, so it's kind of funny that the movie is named after him, even though
Hmm.
he's very very small fraction of the film. But also he's so hard to stomach.
Hmm.
He's not a wicked character that you love or love to hate. He's just
Hmm.
sort of very
Disgusting.
gross. Yes.
Yes. And, yes, he is. I can't defend him. He is very gross. And one of his lines that I love, even though it's sort of creepy, is when he does the voice for Lydia. Oh, yes, I love that damn
Right?
line.
I growing up, I always used to think that this was a kids movie.
Not really. A
And
lot
it
of
is
sex
so
jokes.
far from a kids movie. But it does feel like it's kind of marketed towards kids.
The 80s was a weird time. We had RoboCop cartoons, Rambo cartoons.
Yeah. Cuz
Beetlejuice had a whole toy line, even a cartoon. Yeah.
yeah. Cuz Beetlejuice had that cartoon, so I always thought it was like for kids, but then rewatching like no,
It's
this
adult.
is absolutely not for kids. Yeah, it would be interesting. I like that idea. I like that idea of a stop motion sequel.
Yeah, because you could do a lot more with the sandworms, blend
Yeah.
in the real world and all that, and without having to worry about the actors' ages. Because I
Yeah.
really don't want to see an old Winona Ryder.
No.
Keep her the same age. That'd be beautiful.
Yes, yes. Biff in the chat mentions that Poltergeist was rated PG. Well,
Yeah, I think
that's true.
the only thing that was really hardcore about Poltergeist was the scene when he's ripping off his face. I think like that's the only scene. I guess you could kind of argue the skeletons coming out, but like
Yeah.
ripping off the face, that was the most hardcore.
Yeah. 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 So yeah, no, Beatles. That would be fun. That could potentially be fun. But
Hmm.
I found myself I wasn't hooked on it watching it
Yeah,
because I watched it today.
yeah,
I found myself not being. I didn't have the love or the nostalgia for it that I think I know a lot of people they do have.
yeah.
But it also is it's such a big thing. And like when you think of like gothic emo Spencer's the store
Yes, yeah,
Spencer,
yeah,
you know, it does still fit in, or like Hot Topic bullshit. Like
yeah.
it still
There's
has
still an audience for it.
there is
Yeah.
there is.
And I do think there's a lot of ideas in it. I like though. I like that in the afterlife, anyone who committed suicide is working like in the DMV sort of
It's like
job.
you're a bureaucrat. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was fun. I like that too.
And I like all the weird deaths. I feel like he could do that with the sequel as well.
Yes,
Because with the guy with the chicken bone in his thing and the girl
that
got
was
cut
good.
in half,
Yeah,
it's all good
yeah,
stuff. I like all that.
yeah. There's a lot of like the window dressing of the movie looks fun. There's a lot of
Yes.
fun aspects to the world. I totally agree. Although speaking of possible sequels, I mean, given the fact that there's that big Adams Family show on Netflix called Wednesday, which is
Oh yeah.
terrific. Absolutely, I love that show. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's great. Written by the guys who wrote and created Smallville, because I got to mention Smallville every episode.
Every episode, Smallville. There you go. Put the dollar in the jar.
There we go. But yeah, no, they because that is kind of similar gothic emo-y stuff. I'm like, I could easily see them being tempted to somehow to bring Beetlejuice back now that you have another kind of gothic property
Hmm.
that's huge that
Hmm.
people love. I could see.
I feel like this would print money. I'm surprised they really haven't done a Beetlejuice sequel. That's shocking to me.
I am too. That's what I said to Claire. I was like, even though I wasn't hooked on this film tonight, I was surprised given how much impact it has on pop culture and the stuff like that. Like we had the cartoon
Yeah.
and that I was, but I'm like in my head, it's like I can see a Beetlejuice 2. I can see a movie with Beetlejuice and 2 on the end.
Yeah.
How's that should exist?
And there's so much stuff in this first movie that's just so iconic. You got the sandworms, you got the afterlife, you got his suit, you got the attention Kmart shoppers, and then
Yes.
you got the whole dance sequence. There's
Yes.
so many great. Oh, and the how they changed their faces with like Barb and Adam.
Yes.
There's so many iconic visuals. So maybe that's another thing. Maybe they just couldn't top it. Like, what? How do we top this? Visually.
That is something that is a good point, because there are things that we'll talk about in some of the other sequels that is my question. Can some of these things even be topped? And one of the later questions is, films that maybe should have gotten sequels, would we be saying the same thing if some of these movies actually got that sequel?
That's true.
It's obviously that's hypothetical. We don't know, but it's fun.
Yeah.
Anything left to say about Beetlejuice?
No, this was my simple one. The other ones I actually have like plot lines. This one I didn't have a plot line.
Okay, so we're gonna move on from Beetlejuice to
Okay.
one of mine.
Oh,
the
good.
Wolverine.
Get this out of the way.
Yeah, I went with this one first because I know that you'll have very little to say or think about this, but I wanted to at least chat about this one for a moment or two.
Mhm.
So, because I know that you and X-Men are, it's just doesn't register for you. You don't. It goes in and out.
Yes.
Whereas for me, like, I've always been a massive X-Men fan. Like, that's my jam. Like,
Yeah.
I don't need any of the other Marvel superheroes. I don't need any of the MCU. I'm happy with my Fox X-Men movies. Even when they're terrible, I'm happy. I'm happy with them because I feel there was at least some creative vision behind it. Like, the creators had control. It wasn't the studio saying you have to do this, and it wasn't paint by numbers. So I'm fine with it. Even when they're bad, but
this is your Halloween franchise.
This is my
basically.
Halloween. Yeah.
Because you're like, there's not that bad. I'm like, no, the bad ones are pretty bad. Oh, Origins is pretty bad.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. Like, Origins is terrible. The Dark Phoenix is terrible. Apocalypse isn't very good.
I forgive Dark Phoenix. So when I watch that movie, I feel like that's like the underlying thing is about like drug addicts and getting clean and trying to fight all that stuff.
Maybe
that's what I got out of it. That's what I got out of it.
Yeah. I hate it, but I don't hate the creative people behind it, because I feel like their arms were twisted, because it was. I read some articles that heavily implied that Disney made them change a lot of things and reshoot because they didn't want it. I think the Skrulls were maybe meant to be in it.
That's right. Skrulls.
And so they took that. I think they made them change the aliens because the Skrulls were going to be in Captain Marvel and shit.
I know they were so generic alien. They're like X-File aliens in that movie.
Yes. Yeah. So it was. So yeah. So But look, I'll be upfront. Yeah. X-Men 3 bad. Origins bad. I'm aware. But X-Men 1 and 2. Yeah. 1 and 2 are great. Wolverine is great. Logan's great. They're good. So I loved the Wolverine. I know when it first came out, people were like, "Oh, I loved it," until at the end when it became an X-Men movie. And
that's true.
And I'm like, part of me was like, what do you expect? It's an X-Men movie. There's going to be a big mutant fight at the end. Like, of course there is. Whether you wanted the guy in the big robot suit, I could have taken that. That could have been. We didn't need the robot suit guy. Like the Silver Samurai, whatever his name is, didn't need to be a robot. That was very Iron Man. They were doing that because Iron Man was big, right? Mm-hmm. Big machine baddie. Didn't need it. But what I loved about the Wolverine was that I really love the relationship between him and Yukio, the girl who can like see death. He can his little partner the whole time, right? Mm-hmm. And they had a really good back and forth, and I love this idea of her being his protector kind of thing. It was a fun relationship, and I was always bummed at the end, because at the end they fly away together on a jet. And you're like, oh, they're going to go off and have some adventures. And I want to see what those adventures are, because they worked so well together in this movie. And it was always a bummer to me that we never got it, because there's the they fly away on the jet, and then there's this like other post-credit scene where they Wolverine's in the airport, and it teases the Days of Future Past, because that was the next movie to come out. So they were just teeing it up for that. And I'm like, it really would have been nice to have, like, even if they just went back and told like one more story with these two that was like still pre Days of Future Past, even though that film had already come out. Like, just one more would have been a shame. And I got an idea for it. This is one I do have an idea for.
Go ahead.
So I won't linger on it too long, because I know.
No, go ahead, linger. Do it.
I know you and X-Men.
No, I don't care if it's linger. Let's pitch it. Go ahead. Do it.
But before I do that, Shane says the train scene at the end is cool. The train scene is great.
I think he's talking about the Phoenix.
Wait, are you talking about Phoenix? You're talking about oh yeah, because that one has a train.
Because we were talking about Phoenix at the time when he made that comment.
Okay, so I agree. Phoenix. I do agree with that. That the train fight sequence is fun, but also the train sequence in Wolverine is also pretty fun. Mm-hmm. But so here's my idea. This is a very vague idea. I'm ambiguous about where to start it. I would be tempted to start it with both of them at the X Mansion. Maybe have a brief Xavier cameo, very brief, right? Where you can, because you can still hint at the Trask Days of Future Past Sentinel shit coming. But basically what I would want is the X-Men, you know, they have a brief cameo where they're all off looking into Trask and the Sentinel nonsense. But then Xavier catches wind of maybe some like political mutant assassinations and happening in like Europe. So he's like, Wolverine, you and Yukio, you head over to Europe and you investigate this kind of stuff. So again, it takes them out of the States, you know, because that was the fun bit, was Wolverine in Japan. That was fun.
Yeah, put him in London and Germany.
Like, no, exactly. Like, do something fun like that. Do like a Bourne style Wolverine movie, right? Like where he's maneuvering his way through these different countries, trying to look.
I could see it, like him on a motorcycle, and then like him jumping up and going Rah! Into like a helicopter. Let's do this. I could see it. That's the final scene.
You know, you can have a big battle on the London Eye. No, that they did that in Fantastic Four 1 or 2.
Big Ben. They got to fight. No one's fought on Big Ben yet. Only on Great Mouse Detective. We need to fight in Great Ben. That's
true. You can go inside it. You could fight on the inside of it. Yeah, that could be fun. Yes. So my idea would, because you would bring in a classic X-Men villain. So the story would eventually take them to Russia, or there would be links to Russia. And it's a Russian program that are behind these assassinations. And the ultimate villain would be Omega Red, who he's the dude with like the crazy hair and the tentacles that come out of his wrists. You would know him if you saw him. You would know him if you saw him. And because I always thought that would be like a really cool villain to bring in, because he's a KGB dude. He's a Russian sort of experiment assassin figure, and like that would have been great. Put those two in Europe, and their big baddie is Omega Red, and he's going after a particular person, and they need to save someone, and like it would have been great. A European romp fighting Omega Red.
Maybe working that what's her name? That Ellen Page character, was that Carrie
Kitty Pryde?
Kitty Pryde. Yeah. You have her get kidnapped by this guy, and he needs her for something. So that leads into Days of Future Past and why she's there.
Like, ooh, yeah. I like that.
Got to work it in.
I like that. That would be perfect. That would be. Yes. I'm very much down with that. So that's my idea. It's a because I love Logan. Logan is a very good film, but it's not. It stands out. It's not in the. It's not in the universe. It's in its own timeline, doing its own thing. And I'm like, that's a fun movie, but I'm like, I just wanted one more. And I'm sorry, I don't feel that Deadpool 3 is going to give me what I want.
Oh no, Deadpool 3 I feel is like one of those directed home video movies. It's like Casper Meets Wendy. I don't see it as like a real movie.
Yeah, as time goes on, I'm kind of feeling more less excited about Deadpool
Yeah.
3.
I know you love Deadpool, but it's just going to be one of those movies. It's going to be like Return to Jafar or some shit. It's not going to be real.
My worry is that I agree. So that's my Wolverine pitch. You should have got it.
Get into your worries, Luke. Get into your worries. Let's do this. What are you
My
worried
worries of what? My worries of what?
Deadpool 3.
Well, I just
Open up. Don't be afraid.
my worry is that
We're here talking about sequels. It's perfect.
yeah, it's all because it's Disney now. And my worry is I know Ryan Reynolds has a lot of clout, but he's not bigger than Disney. At the end of the day, Disney are going to tell him what to do, and he'll probably have to do it, right?
I don't know. Like he did Free Guy, and he asked for those stupid little cameos of the Captain America shield and the Hulk fist and the Luke Skywalker's lightsaber. I don't know. He might be bigger than Disney. He's got dirt on them.
He's got the dirt. I mean, maybe
him and Blake Lively. I think they're rich, dude. He's got his own phone company, and she's got her own clothing line.
That's true. They have maybe he does, but there's just a part of me. It's like I feel like because Deadpool 1 and 2 were so firmly set. There's no question. They're set in the Fox X-Men world, and I'm like, are you going to somehow make it that he's in the MCU, or is he going to fall into the MCU? Like, how can you have Hugh Jackman come back and be that Wolverine? I know obviously they've opened up the can of worms with multiverse stuff, but I don't want to see multiverse. I want to see the characters. You know what I mean? Like the last, Hugh Jackman needs to be Wolverine as we know the Wolverine, not like Universe 501 or whatever bullshit. Like, and my other worry is like, will they really want to do an R-rated movie? Will Deadpool 3 or will it be a RoboCop 3 where it's we're gonna tame this so that kids can go and see it, and it's a dud?
I think it's gonna be that close rated R kind of thing, sort of like a Megan, because that new Megan movie.
Right.
It didn't go full rated R. I don't even know what it's rated. It felt like a hard PG-13.
Right.
And I think they're going to go the hard PG-13 and then make an agreement like for the home release, they're going to do like rated R. Find that happy medium.
The uncut version kind of thing.
Yes.
Which they did trial with Deadpool 2. They did that sort of
holiday version, yeah.
Yes, which was I watched it and I was like, this is kind of a cheap gimmick. I wasn't sold on it. I wasn't sold on that at all. Shane Ford says that Deadpool 2 sucked and Deadpool 3 will suck harder. I kind of like Deadpool 2.
We all know why you like Deadpool 2.
Deadpool 1 is better.
It's got Domino in it. That's why.
Say again.
It's got Domino in Deadpool 2. That's why you like it.
I mean, she was cool. Let's be real. She was cool.
Stop downplaying it, Luke.
She's right. She's right. I think you're right behind me.
I can't talk in front of her. She'll hear. I have to be cool.
Shh, gotta be cool, man. Gotta be cool.
You have to be cool about it.
No, I'm okay with most of it. I'm okay with most of Deadpool 2. I am, but those are my worries. My worry is Disney. It's going to be Disney-fied, I feel, and I just don't trust Marvel now. I don't trust MCU, and because they own everything now, except for Spider-Man, I'm like, it's gonna suck.
Well, you know who I trust?
What? Who?
I trust Ryan Reynolds.
Yes.
I think he'll be great. I think he'll be fine. He'll be fine. It's gonna be great.
Right. So
it's
anyway,
gonna be great. Yeah.
We'll move on to our next, which is one of yours.
Which one is it?
2003.
Okay, so we all talk about legacy sequels, guys. Everything's getting a legacy sequel. Scream and Halloween, legacy sequels. But have we ever got a legacy sequel to a movie that was a reboot? And that's my pitch, because I'm sick and tired of going back to the original 1970s movie. Forget that. Most of those people are dead. And this reboot of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003 that was actually a financial success and actually created all those lame brain, reboots. But this one was successful. And the thing I like about this, because I just rewatched it 2 days ago at this
Mhm.
point, I like how it did not really remake Texas Chainsaw. It took elements from it, but it was sort of its own creepy, gross thing. It
Yeah.
wasn't lifted plot. Like the only thing is the premise that they took. Kids, go run into like a Leatherface house and they have to deal with it.
Yeah.
It's sort of like a sick fun house ride. It just
Yeah.
feels like one of those like ghost rides, like oh, ah. That's what the whole movie is. It's like you're getting whipped around to one thing and the next thing. That's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003 movie.
Yeah.
And I feel like even though we did get a prequel, so the next movie they did was a prequel to show how we got that Leatherface from 2003. But I feel like now it's been 20 years since
Yeah.
2003,
Jeez.
and Jessica Biel is still in fantastic shape. Let's do a legacy sequel. And this
Yeah.
is my plot line.
Right.
So as I rewatched the movie, I actually got some great elements. So in the 2003 Texas Chainsaw, there was a little baby girl that Jessica Biel takes. Her name's Erin. So Erin took this little girl.
Mm.
And I'm going to assume in this legacy sequel, she kept the kid and raised her as her own.
Okay.
So the daughter went to college and then came back, and she has a fiance who will be played by Jack Quaid. And Jack Quaid's like, "Oh yeah, I'm from Texas. I met your girl, your daughter. She's fantastic. She's great.
Mm.
And I want we're going to get married. I asked her out, or we're going to get married. I gave her the ring, and we're going to have the wedding ceremony in Texas." And Erin, who lives in Colorado, because in the movie they do mention Colorado, so
Right.
Erin lives in Colorado with her daughter, and she's very hesitant about
Mm.
going back to Texas because
Right.
about what happened. She wanted to stay away from there, but she loves her daughter. She knows this is important, so she goes down there. So
Mhm.
that's the plot line. But
Mhm.
so let me talk about the opening sequence because I love
Yeah.
the sequence, and I always want to see it in a movie because I did it in my Godzilla trailer, and I want to see it in this. But I want a horror movie sequence that takes place during fireworks, because
Mm.
when you watch fireworks at night, they light up everything and they go dark.
Yes.
So that's perfect for like a scary chase scene.
Yes.
So the opening of this Texas Chainsaw would be a girl, like a random girl, running away through the marsh, and she's being chased by Leatherface. By the way, Leatherface has one arm in this movie. He's got something attached to his arm so he could have like a chainsaw arm. It'll be great because at the end of the 2003 movie, his arm got cut off by Jessica Biel.
Right.
So he's got a chainsaw arm. He's chasing this random girl through the marsh, and the fireworks. She's following the fireworks because there's a little carnival going on.
Yeah.
So she's running across the marsh and stops. Running across the marsh and stops. And Leatherface is, chasing her. And then just as she gets to the fence, the fireworks go off, and he's right behind her. And then we cut to the title card, Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah.
And that's when the plot starts. So Jessica Biel takes her daughter and goes to Texas with his boyfriend's family. And they get to meet the family. And everything seems normal until it's not. So at the dinner recital, this is where we learn this is the Texas Chainsaw family. This is the Hewitt family. Because in every Texas Chainsaw Massacre, except this reboot one, there's always a dinner table scene.
Right.
So it's at the recital, the wedding recital, and we find out that the fiance is little Jedediah from 2003 movie. Jack Quaid is actually part of the Hewitt family, and he was sent out to find this little girl because that's his sister, and he's going to bring her back to the family because no one takes away from family. And then we have Jessica Biel and the daughter at the table. They're yelling at, like, fuck yeah, blah, 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 at the table. They're strapped down. And then we have all the creepy family members. And then we have this old man who's all mangled. And we find out that's the sheriff that Jessica Biel ran over 3 times. You think he's dead, but he's not dead because it's Texas Chainsaw. So they kept him alive. So he's all broken up laughing at them. Right. And then we have the big cameo. It's going to be played by either 2 actors. We're going to have Matthew McConaughey referencing Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4, or if we can't get Matthew McConaughey, we're going to get Viggo Mortensen, who was in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. And he plays the governor of this little small town or whatever, this area. Right. And he's the lead of the family, and that's why they can get away with anything. So, and somehow they get away from this dinner table. They find a cop. The cop doesn't believe them, so he puts them in the back seat. And then the cop's driving down the street, and there's Leatherface. And he's like, "What the hell is going on here?" And he goes to the Leatherface. Leatherface, of course, kills him. So they're trying to get out of the back seat of this cop car, right? The daughter and the mom. And then Leatherface gets on top of the cop car and starts cutting through it. And they're like, "Ah!" It's a great sequence. Somehow they get out. Like, I think there's probably a fake out with Jack Quaid. You know, I think this is probably before the dinner table, the cop car thing, because the cop car, they bring it to the wedding recital. We'll do that. And then I want a sequence where they go hide out in like a movie theater and they think they're safe. And like, let's say the theater, because this would be 1993. So, because the original movie took place in 1975. So I think this movie would take place in 90s. So you have 90s nostalgia. Not only is it a legacy sequel, you could have 90s nostalgia. So there's like people wearing all those, like, you know, neon colors and the early 90s hair. So they're watching Jurassic Park in the theater. It's the truck sequence, right? And they're hiding out. They're like, "All right, are we safe?" And all of a sudden Leatherface comes through that TV, like the screen. And cuts through it. The audience is screaming. They're all leaving. It's sort of like a reference to the movie The Blob. And you have all these people in there, and then you have Leatherface in there, and like the projection is playing the T-Rex roar on him. Standing there. That'd be so cool. And that's great. And then we have Jessica Biel, of course, you know, win out then. That's basically some of the sequences I would want in that movie. I want fireworks sequence. I want the back seat of the police car sequence. I want the dinner table sequence at the wedding. I think that'd be so messed up. And then you could like connect it to the 2003 movie with the sheriff, little Jedediah, and the little girl that she raises on her own. And then what other? Did I write any other notes? No, I think that's about it. So that would be my Texas Chainsaw Legacy sequel. And you'd have so much nostalgia for the early 2000s, nostalgia for the 90s. It would be amazing. That would be my Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I do like that. I think that is a really interesting idea, because I'm not a big fan of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. I don't know it as much as well as you do, but I'm like, you're really good at coming up with like big set pieces. Like those are like when you're putting your story together, like that's like, oh yeah, those are like really good big moments.
Like you write these on like cards, and you like just have to move them around. Like, okay, where can that fit in?
exactly.
Yes.
I like that. So okay, yeah. So this one in 2003, it was set in 2003, right?
It was set in 1975. So
oh shit,
20 years later, you'd have the 90s. That's why you could have that 90s nostalgia.
Okay. I didn't clock it, because this was one of the ones I wasn't able to watch in time. So I didn't realize that was set in the 70s. I probably would if I watched the like trailer. Probably
just watch the trailer. But that would be so great because it takes place in the 90s, and you'd be like, "Oh shit, 90s nostalgia." That's great.
Yes, no, it's true. Like, yeah, no, that is a good idea. I quite like that. I like this idea of a legacy sequel to a reboot,
because you wouldn't have to worry about cell phones either. That's the other thing about that. You write that in there. So, because like that modern movie, that one they came up with now, was just a legacy sequel 40 years later, 50 years later from 1970s. You don't have to worry about that. You solve that problem in your script, because you're like, what about cell phones? What about that? And the joke would probably be like a payphone, and they can't use it because Leatherface could easily break through the payphone. So they can't use that.
Yeah. I like that. I do like that. Someone should make this. If someone's listening,
Jessica Biel, she's in great shape. And make Jack Quaid like the horror movie icon. Like he was in Scream, make him in Texas Chainsaw. That'd be wonderful.
Was he in the new Scream?
Yes, he was, spoilers, one of the killers.
Ah, interesting.
That's why in the Red Letter Media video, he says, "You were one of the ghost faces." And he's like,
right. Yes. It's funny, like, because you are a big horror guy.
Yeah.
And so I only know these things. I know a lot of these things in sort of like, name only. I'm pretty sure I've seen one of the Scream movies, but I haven't seen any of the new ones.
Yeah. I really love Scream 2, but you really need to know what Scream 1 is before Scream 2, because Scream 2 like builds on it. And it's so wonderful. I really love Scream 2, even though they're all pretty good. I know people don't like 3, but I love Scream 3. And Scream 4, I recently just watched. And I loved it. Yeah. It's that perfect 2010 Scream version.
Right. Biffer in the chat says that The Departed 2006 needs a sequel.
Well, technically, that already kind of exists with the original Korean movies, I believe they are. The Infernal Affair. That's a trilogy. So if you go to those movies, you could watch the entire story play out, but in a different country.
Oh, interesting. I
Yeah,
did
because
not.
Departed is a remake.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Yeah,
Look
Departed
at this,
is a
kids.
remake.
You're learning. You're
I'm a
learning.
learning computer.
Any other thoughts on this? Would you like? I would assume with this sequel, one of the worries, if it is set in the '90s, is the worry of the Marvelness of things, of wanting to cram like all the songs being like in your face '90s songs.
I think it would be okay though. Like honestly,
You think so?
because I was thinking that, like I was kind of picturing like I'm just a girl, or have like was it like Nirvana or something? I don't know. Whoever was popular during that early '90s, I think that'd be hilarious.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that could work.
yeah.
But I would say do it sparingly.
Yes, do it like only have it like once, and
Yeah.
almost have it like a joke where like Leatherface looks at the radio and like kills off the lady. You know? Yeah, or just like stomps on it.
Yeah.
Oh wait, that's a sequence right there. So someone's listening. Okay, so like oh man, where would you put that though? Okay, so this is like the sequence, what I'm visioning, but I have no idea where you put it in the movie.
Yeah.
So it's almost like that what they did in Super 8, but do it better, where you're following this character around the store. So imagine you're at like a gas station, and the worker puts his headphones on and he's listening to the music. Say he's listening to like Gwen Stefani or something. But in the background, you see like the girls getting chased and running around the store, and you see like Leatherface follow him, but you're following the worker because he's actually like, you know, like working in the store. So he's avoiding like all the big things behind him. Sort of like, oh geez, I'm stealing the joke from Amazing Spider-Man.
I was just thinking that, yes.
I was totally stealing that joke, but yeah, that's exactly what I would want to do with the guy who's working at the gas station.
I like that.
Yeah, but just, you know, do that joke.
Also, I'm sure Spider-Man 2, the Amazing Spider-Man 2 weren't the first ones to do that.
It was the first movie. It was the lizard.
Yes, no, I'm saying they're not the first ones to do that joke.
Oh yeah.
So you're not, you know, they're probably they're stealing off of someone else. Yeah, Shane Ford says, "Come back to Texas by Bowling for Soup, Needle Drop."
Yes,
I don't know that song. I know the band.
I don't know it either.
I can't I can't hear that song in my head.
Yeah.
But there you go. Any other comments on Texas Chainsaw?
I think that's about it. If anything, maybe have a reference to the first movie by having him wear the boyfriend's face, because in that movie, Jessica Biel's boyfriend gets killed off first,
right?
And he uses his face. So the first, like when Erin realizes her boyfriend is dead, is when she looks at Leatherface, and he's wearing her boyfriend's face. So maybe bring that mask back.
Gosh, that is creepy. That is creepy. I like that though. I like that. It should happen. Someone needs to make this happen. I like.
You know what's funny? Okay, look, sidebar. I think we talked about this on our Instagram live stream last year of like October.
Maybe.
And you know what's funny, Luke?
Yes.
Fucking Screen Rant wrote an article in December talking about how there should be a legacy sequel to Texas Chainsaw. And I was like, that was my idea, bitch.
Do you think like someone like
watched
it and stole that?
Yes. I feel someone is watching my channel, because I remember I pitched this whole thing about cops having to wear like masks because at one night they all got attacked, and then they became like sort of superheroes because they all had to wear masks. And then cut to the Watchmen TV show. That's exactly the plot. All the police got attacked one night, so they have to wear masks. Yeah.
Interesting.
And I was like, that's too similar. That's too on the nose. Somebody's checking out Chief Brody Rules. Some intern in Hollywood.
Oh, those dirty rats! Those dirty rats!
Dirty smuggler.
Yeah, it is. This is why, like, for the purposes of this show, like, obviously, I don't care. But this is partly why I don't ever want to divulge serious story ideas on the internet, because I'm like, it's like, for example, but what's bizarre to me, is on Twitter, stupid motherfucking Twitter. There's
Twitter's the best.
It has its moments. Agents, like publishers and agents, stuff like that, they will do like pitches, right?
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. They'll do pitches and they'll be like, okay, pitch us your book and use this hashtag, and if we like it, we'll like the tweet, and you can send it to us and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
All I do is I see that as like, well, everyone is now just throwing their ideas into the public domain. Like anyone can now read all of these pitches and just basically rip them all off because because you tweeted about it, you're not going to, if someone takes that idea and spins on it, riffs on it, and does their own thing with it,
Yeah.
what's your defense? Oh, I put it on Twitter. Well, yeah, okay, that's why so and so can nick this idea. I'm just like, no. Don't.
You know,
It's too dangerous.
a few years ago, I wrote this whole plot line to what if I were to do a He-Man movie, what I would do, and now it's gone because my Twitter account was,
Oh,
the original
yeah.
Frank. It got deleted. But man, I wish I could read that whole like pitch because I totally forgot what it was. But I think it was something crazy like the cartoons become real and they come into the real world and like the worlds have to merge and He-Man has to stop it from happening. Oh man, that's so funny.
Isn't there like a He-Man movie where that happens?
I think there's only that one Dolph Lundgren movie, and I have no idea what it's about.
I might be mistaken. There's some reason I'm getting this in my head where like there is some sort of real world crossover, but there's this, who knows? They did that with Super Mario, so who knows?
Oh, that could be it.
Who knows?
Who knows?
But
Yep, but I'm done with Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah.
We can move on.
All right, moving on to our next one, which is Ba-ba-da-ba!
The Nice Guys.
Jinx.
Screw it up. Ba-da-ba-ba.
Man, I love this movie. I almost didn't rewatch it in prep, but
I had to rewatch it.
But then I was having a frustrating day, and it was the perfect movie to watch in the evening. And I was like, "Oh, it was such a wonderful thing to do." I watched The Nice Guys, and when I also recently over Christmas, that is, watched Lethal Weapon 1 and 2.
Yes.
Which I'm actually talking about Lethal Weapon 1 next week on my show. Watching Nice Guys and Lethal Weapon, it's Nice Guys to me feels like the end of an era. As in for Shane Black writing good buddy cop stuff. Stories. I also feel like it's the end of an era in that we don't get, it's so rare to get a movie like Nice Guys now. Nice Guys, when it came out, was a rarity in and of itself, in my opinion. Because like the next thing Shane Black went and did after this was The Predator, which was dog poo poo. It didn't feel like Shane Black. It didn't feel like Predator. It felt like autism is a superpower is just absolutely ridiculous. It's not a superpower. And yeah, so watching this, it made me kind of, it was a joyful experience, but it was also kind of sad because I'm like, we don't get just good, action comedies anymore. When we do, like they're few and they're far between. Like Free Guy was stupid. Like as an action comedy, it wasn't funny.
I liked it.
It was so hammy. I just couldn't.
I should explain why I like it though.
Why do you
like it? I like it because it's all my movie ideas that I've always wanted to do in one movie. So it's like Tron, Last Action Hero, and like a little bit of like something else. I forgot what the hell the third movie is, but it's like a little bit of sprinkle of that. But it's like Tron and definitely Last Action Hero.
Yes, yeah, I guess. It didn't land for me.
I totally get it. I get it. I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna say why I like
defending Free Guy is not the hill to die on.
No, and this is your show. I'm not. We have Nice Guys to talk about.
we do. So yeah. So I rewatched Nice Guys because this is a movie that I'm like, you know what? Like Lethal Weapon that had too many sequels, it at least had one good sequel, which was number 2. Yes. And
number 2.
Again, like in the Die Hard, there's several good Die Hard movies. This one deserves a sequel.
Yes.
Like those movies. Like there's no reason why these two guys, Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling, they were a great duo. Like
surprisingly, who'd have thought, right?
Yeah. Like they worked so well off each other. This, you got like the trim guy, then you got the older, fatter guy, busting skulls together. And I just, their personalities like really, they really worked. And I loved the kind of the subtle nuances between the two. I like that Ryan Gosling's character March is kind of he's kind of ditzy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's kind of he's a little bit stupid,
Yes.
a little bit he's not very heroic. He's kind of, you know, he asks his daughter in the movie, you know, am I a bad guy? And you know, he's wanting her to say, no, no, you're great. And she's like, no, you're a terrible guy. You're
Yeah.
taking this woman's money, and you're not, you know, you're not doing anything good for her. And so I kind of I liked his character and how he kind of morphs throughout the story. But then I also like this gruff, tubby, I'm gonna bash your skull in, you know, Russell Crowe character, you know,
Yes.
Healy, who just isn't going to take crap from anyone, but is also a little bit. There's a layer of sadness to him
Oh yeah.
that that is only it's more hinted upon in Nice Guys, but it's something I would have liked to seen explored more in a sequel. There's more to his backstory
Yeah.
that I think it would be fun to explore. Similar to, like, I think about him not in the same way, but like, you know, there's something traumatic similar to Mel Gibson's character in Lethal Weapon, you know,
Yeah.
where there's that incredibly dramatic scene in the first one where he's like got a gun in his mouth and he's considering suicide. It's
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that's the thing I love about Shane Black is his ability to balance that sort of heavy drama with just almost over the top comedy. Like he somehow can just make those two things work. And Nice Guys was another,
Mm-hmm.
I think, really good attempt at doing that.
Yes.
And yeah, to me, it should have got a sequel. I've had some thoughts about what to do with the sequel,
Mm-hmm.
and I think we've talked a little bit about
Yeah, I had
Nice
to look it
Guys
up on my
2.
message to you because I have like
Yeah,
a whole like sort
yeah,
of pitch. Yeah.
yeah. I think if I remember right. Sorry, I had to take a drink of water. If I remember, right, I
Mhm.
think you mentioned something about. Did you mention something about having her in college or something like that?
Yeah, she's older now
College.
because it's been like 5-10 years now
Yeah,
since Nice Guys, so she'd
yeah,
have to be in college at this point.
yeah.
But my whole thing is that either Healy or March has a lover, a love
Mm,
interest,
yeah.
and that the daughter and this love interest would have to help. Okay, so hang on, let's start over. So the basic pitch is some land developer or some big business tycoon hires March and Healy to do a case.
Mm,
And when they get to this place, there's a dead body there, and the police swarm them. And basically, I'm stealing a little bit of plot elements from Tango and Cash, but
yeah.
Healy and March get arrested and blamed for this killing because there's a fire and everything. Someone gets burned in the building,
Mm, mm,
and the person they find in the building who's charred and dead is the guy who hired them.
right.
And they're like, "How? No, we didn't do this. This guy hired us. Why would we kill him?"
Yeah,
And anyway, it just looks bad on them because the evidence is just compounded on them. Sort of
yeah.
elements from Tango and Cash, sort of like Demolition Man. They're arrested. So now the daughter and the love interest have to figure out a way to get March and Healy out of jail.
Mm,
So there's a little bit of like goofball stuff because the thing I noticed in this rewatch of The Nice Guys is that
mm.
they also are sort of like that modern day like Laurel and Hardy or something like that.
Mm-hmm,
Because
mm-hmm.
there's that part where it goes and that's total like old school black and white when they see,
Yeah,
Frankenstein or Wolfman. So he's like
yeah,
so
yeah,
that's perfect. So we would do that in jail while they're doing that sort of like old school like
yeah,
slapstick while they're in
yeah,
jail and they have to figure out their way out.
yeah.
And then let's see what else what do I have here. We would okay, so the reveal would be that the rich tycoon faked his death and wanted to move his money around such and such and something something. I didn't have the exact details.
Yeah.
And then he had to get rid of the nice guys because the very small unrelated case in the opening scene
Mm,
was actually stopping or affecting how this tycoon would do business, sort of like the clover leaf thing, and
mm-hmm.
Roger Rabbit. Some little thing in the beginning that they solved
Yeah.
is affecting this. So this oil tycoon faked his death by planting his teeth into a corpse in the building
Right.
where for the nice guys to find. So at the end, Russell Crowe would be kicking his teeth while Gosling has to save his daughter from the love interest. Because we find out the love interest was actually a plant from the rich oil tycoon or whoever,
Right.
landowner, and she was actually keeping an eye on this whole thing until the nice guys were killed in prison by a hitman or whoever who was in the prison. She was backup. And then as I was watching the movie, because this was just, off the cuff, because a few months ago, probably more than a few months ago, like a year ago now, I was going to do a pitch because Luke's like, what would you do for a nice guy?
Yes.
So that was basically what I had. But during this rewatch,
Yeah.
I have some other ideas that I would try to squeeze in. I think we would find out who killed Marsh's wife. We would find that's like a Lethal Weapon 2 kind of thing. That it wasn't an accident. She was killed.
Yeah.
And then we would have some sort of joke where we see Healy's dad, because there's a joke in the Nice Guys where like, I'm fucking your dad. So we would see Healy's dad, who's probably like a James Brolin type character.
Yeah.
And then we bring back the smell where Marsh can't smell. And then we would emphasize Marsh's luckiness, because it's only hinted at towards the end where he's like avoiding bullets and such. But I feel like we could emphasize that in the sequel where there's like a big giant sequence where he's like, everything's missing him.
Yeah.
So that would be that. And so that's basically the pitch I had for a Nice Guys sequel.
I like it. I came up with a few ideas, and I think subconsciously there were a few things I lifted from our conversation, because I didn't go back and look at it, but there's a few minor similarities, and one of those is Holly being in college or university, and the ideal thing, obviously, the amount of time that would have to pass would have to be like almost real time. So if they were making it now, I think she's like, the actress is in like her 20s, so like she could still be university, right? So I can't remember the exact year of the
77.
77. Okay, so I put this in like 1982.
That's about right.
Yeah, so it's roughly like they could maybe get away with it. I was thinking, like, in terms of personal drama, I was thinking of because Healy makes that comment that he really likes his apartment, right?
Yes.
And I was like, personal drama for Healy is that he's being evicted, like the building is being sold, and he has to leave that place, and he doesn't want to. March has rebuilt the house.
Yes.
But Holly doesn't like his new girlfriend.
Okay.
When she comes home from university, or if she's studying within proximity and could go home, and she chooses not to because she doesn't like the new girlfriend. And that
Hilary Duff, that would be perfect.
That would be.
Because it's like the same age in the Mouse House Club with Ryan Gosling. Oh my god.
Yep. But I don't have the girlfriend being a villain or anything like that. But there would be some sort of tension and drama that would have to be resolved from that.
Yeah.
The case that I was thinking about, because obviously Nice Guys is lifting off of hard-boiled fiction, PI, Raymond Chandler kind of stuff, and clearly Shane Black loves that, and he knows it well enough, and he gets it. He nails it in his stuff, I think. So this is not a well thought out plot, but I was thinking someone comes to them because someone stole a pearl necklace, maybe like in a divorce or something like that. And this individual wants it back. So March goes to collect it, and that's when they find a dead body, but no necklace. And while he's looking around the room where the dead body is, there's maybe hints of a big construction job happening in central LA that would then basically lead to some sort of corruption case that they would need to expose. And in the course of doing that, this construction job would also be part of the thing that's affecting Healy's eviction. So as a result, might be able to save his place, or maybe he doesn't save it, but they it's all sort of linked in a little bit, and the case begins to kind of spiral out of control as they try and solve the murder and basically uncover a corrupt city planner who's got a nefarious thing going on with the construction company kind of thing. And I'm like, I think that's another one that I think could easily work. And again, kind of like what you're saying with Texas Chainsaw, I think it would be fun because Nice Guys, leaned heavily into its 1975-ness.
Yeah,
I think it would be fun to lean into the way.
like the beginning of the Reagan era.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And see how like the style is the city is changing, fashion's changing, not in a loud way, but in a subtle way. Because March, he looks like a man of the era, and I think he would try to keep up with the
Yes.
era, right?
I could see it.
Yeah. So
Him
whatever
wearing
that,
like a leather suit or something, and like,
yeah, yeah. So whatever that style is, he's going for it. Whereas,
yeah.
Healy would still be the same kind of gruffy, probably wearing the exact same thing. Because
Oh my
Healy,
God, exactly. Yep.
Healy's not going to evolve his dress sense, but
No,
March is absolutely going to.
definitely.
And what I also kind of liked is I really liked in the first one that Holly, March's daughter, she really took a shine to Healy. And there's that bit
Yes.
at the end where she's like, "If you kill this man, I'll never talk to you again." And he stops. And it's a really sweet moment.
Yes.
And there's something about it that I'm like, you know what?
He's sort
Holly,
of the father figure, honestly.
yes.
Yes.
Holly would want to impress and win and want to win Healy's approval. And I feel like whatever she's doing in university, whatever she's studying is being done to impress Healy.
Mm-hmm.
And she's going to Healy for that approval.
That could be like the whole backstory to it, because like she's like, trying to, talk to Healy about this, and Gosling is sort of feeling left out.
Yeah.
And that could be at the end where Ryan Gosling felt, March feels like that she doesn't love him enough. And at the end, it's like, no, I love you enough.
Yeah.
It's just, I feel, a little bit differently, but you'll always be my dad. Because
Yeah.
I think that could be like the element where he's like, yeah, you're always with her. You're always doing that.
Yes.
That could be
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a really, I think you could do a really sweet story with that. I think there's something fun there that unfortunately couldn't be explored because for whatever reason. I mean, this film was well received. Nice Guys was well received, but I don't know if it made enough money.
No.
Because the summer of what came out in 2016? Was it 2016? Was it 2017?
I'm not sure.
I'll find out.
Let's find it. Pull it up, Jamie.
Pulling it up. 2016.
Whoa, 2016? Oh, that's a weird year.
Yeah. What came out that year? Suicide Squad or something like that?
Suicide Squad, Batman versus Superman. Then there was that Joel and Ethan Coen movie, Hail Caesar. Hell or High Water came out.
That was a good one.
That's
Arrival. Rogue One, Ghostbusters 2016, Independence Day, X-Men Apocalypse, Deadpool.
No one was going to movies from the sounds of it.
Yeah, the ones that they were going to were these. Star Trek Beyond came out that year. Yeah, it was that was a rough year. That was a rough year. There wasn't a lot of great stuff that came out, but this one was a good one, and it was a shame that people didn't take to it like
the radar.
Yeah, it really should have got way more attention than it did, because
the marketing was good though. That was weird.
What was?
The marketing was good though. I remember seeing like a little cheap animated like cartoon, like The Nice Guys, and they had like cheap 70s animation.
Yeah.
Them.
Yeah. No, it was a shame. It was a shame because I love this. I love this show. It's also one of the few movies that have a novel adaptation as well. I don't know if you've ever. Yeah. I remember seeing it. I owned it for a while, and then I think I gave it to a charity shop because I was like, I don't need to own this, but I did.
Luke,
I know.
God, you could have turned that around in 20 years. Damn it.
I mean, I don't think anyone's gonna care. I'm sure if I go to Amazon, there's probably someone selling it.
Oh, jeez, don't have to go all Lotso Bear on it. There's a million of them like her. Oh my God.
But actually, it's funny though. Thinking about it, there were even Suicide Squad had a novelization. I think they must have been trying to do that year to try and like bring back the novelization, because both of those films had it, which is bizarre. Because who was going to sit there? Oh, I'm just going to buy this Suicide Squad novelization.
Well, there's a Halloween Ends book too, adaptation.
Was there?
Yeah, Halloween Ends. There's a book.
That's Bizarre. That's bizarre.
Bizarre.
Bizarre. So anyway, Nice Guys. It should have had a sequel. It's a damn shame that it.
Hang on, we're going to the next one. Hang on. Intermission.
Okay.
Intermission. Picture book. I got to be back. Hang on. Hang on.
I will talk to myself for a minute. Well, I don't know what to say. If you've not read this book by Joseph Campbell, Hero of a Thousand Faces, I recommend it. It's good stuff. I was reading it recently for work purposes. Man, he's left. We'll look at Frank's background. What has he got? Oh, we've already jumped to the next one. I will go back up. Let me remove this. There we go. Let's see what we got. So in Frank's background, he's got the Batmobile, which I sent him, with looks like Catwoman lying on top of the hood, like a 1980s pinup sort of situation. Like all these dinosaurs, man, dinosaurs. What would Shane's asked? What would the '80s music in that play? What would the '80s music be in Nice Guys? That's a really good question. Oh, that's a really good question. I have to think about that. Well, it would have to depend on the year. So I guess if we were saying 80, if we were saying 82, what was out at 82? I would love for Toto's Africa to be in it, but I don't know if Toto's Africa was actually out at that time. You're back. Sorry.
I heard Toto and I was like, oh God.
Oh no. So Shane asked, what music would I put in Nice Guys? If it was set in the 80s, and obviously that depends on the exact year that it comes out. So I didn't know if Toto's Africa was out in that time. But that would be one. I think I'd probably put some U2 in there. I wouldn't want to go like cheesy 80s with the music. But that really depends. I'd have to sit and think about that.
Yeah. Because I was going to say Heart of Glass, but that came out in 79.
That came out in 70. Well, 79, like the thing is, if it's close enough, if it's within like a 3-ish year period, you can get away with it, because there's that crossover. Like every decade, there's like those first few years of the new decade are still kind of hangovers from, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it could, you could do, but I don't know if U2 had any.
I don't think so. I think U2 came out like mid 80s.
Yeah, I think they did too. What's the first album? Let's find out. First album is Boy. Oh no, the first album Boy came out in 79. So,
oh jeez. So
they old. Yeah, like their War album came out in 83. So let's see what's on War. So it's yeah. Anyway, I'd have to really sit and think about that. I'm very picky. I can't just like shout off songs I'd put in my movies, because I like, even when I like write like my books and stuff, I like curate songs, scores and songs. I'm like, if this were to be adapted, this would be the score. And
you're like Tarantino. Ooh.
Yeah, I'm like, this is what I would want, and this sets the mood. So yeah, so I'd have to think about that. Maybe I'll put a playlist together.
Yes, a Nice Guys playlist.
Yes. Nice Guys 2, Die Nicer.
2 Nice Guys.
2 Nice Guys. I like 2 Nice Guys. All right, we're on to the next one. I'm excited to talk about this one.
Oh God. Okay, which one is this one?
Leon. Oh wait, I took the thing down.
Okay, I'll take it down. There it is.
Leon.
No women, no
professional.
Kids. Oh God. Oh geez. Now I gotta. Oh geez. Oh man, I gotta pitch this. Okay, so this is my third movie I picked. So this one's interesting. So I just rewatched the movie yesterday for the first time since like high school, and it was wonderful to sort of fall back into that movie, that world again. And you don't really need to know this movie for the sequel that they would do, because of course it's going to be on Matilda, and I think it would even be called Matilda. So the first one's called Leon, next one's called Matilda, of course. And if it was, if they were like, hey, we can't call it Matilda, just call it The Professional. It'd be fine.
What about Matilda, the Enforcer?
No. Oh God, no. Okay, so again, I'm sort of lifting plot lines from other movies that I like. So
Mm.
this story would be Matilda. She is just as cold as Leon was in the beginning of the movie. Cold. All that characteristic she had, all that life she had is gone. She is
Okay.
a hardcore, fierce killer, and now she's overseeing. She's like overseas. She's trekking.
Why is it
Because
gone?
why is it gone? Why is it gone? Because I guess she never found love again. Because this movie is about why she falls in love again. She's willing to let that back into her life.
Okay.
Just because with the job she has, she's globe trotting now, so she's living out of a suitcase. So there's no life for her basically, because all she do is cleaning.
Right.
She's evolved from where Leon was, because he's only in that Italian town. She's moved global, so she's going around the world. So this job she has is to kill some, I guess we'll go with like drug dealer or some high end guy, sort of like a Tony Montana kind of guy.
Yeah.
A high end official. He's sort of politic as well, but he's down like in Mexico or something. So she's at the bar, like tailing him and whatnot, learning, doing research on him before she, kills him. And she's evolved since where she started, because in the movie Leon, it was about the sniper, where you have to do like, that's where you start out as and then as you work your way up, you get closer and closer. So she's like,
last thing is the knife.
Yeah, that comes in with this movie. Oh my god. Okay, so she's doing recon, and while she's at this bar, this I don't know the actress, I'm going to say Zoe Saldana comes up and really kicks it off with Matilda, and Matilda's smiling, and they're dancing, and they fall in love.
Okay.
Boom. They fall in love at the dance floor. So the next day they wake up, they're in bed or whatever, and Zoe Saldana is like, you got to go meet my dad. And we find out that her dad is the drug dealer.
Oh, there we go.
So she's got her way in now. And as the plot goes on, Matilda has second thoughts about killing the dad, because the dad seems like a nice guy. The dad's actually welcoming to this relationship between the little girl. And Matilda's kind of thinking like, you know what if I give up on this? What if I give up on doing this hitman thing? Because I finally found love again. I've never felt like this since Leon. It's been years. I finally, feel romantic about this. And Zoe Saldana kind of knows that who she is and, what she is there for. But, they're talking about it like, okay, you're not going to go through with it. It's like, yeah, I don't think so. So I don't know. There's that. But then that same night, the dad comes in and he knows. Someone told him, we don't know, but someone told him that Matilda was going to kill him. And he's upset because he thinks the daughter's involved with this. He thinks the daughter was the one who hired Matilda to come in, and it's all wrapped up together. Right. So wherever this is, like this cabin or whatever Matilda's staying at, they burn it down. They beat up Zoe Saldana and take her, and they leave Matilda for dead. They throw down the weed, she's dead. And then the father's upset with the daughter, and he leaves her at some sort of whorehouse. Let them take care of my daughter, whatever, whorehouse.
Yeah.
He's upset with her. So then Matilda has to heal up, get out of her situation, and get back to her roots or whatever. So she finds some money that she had hidden in this hideout she had, this little cabin, and starts building it back for revenge. And then so she goes there, and it's sort of like Man on Fire. Where is he? I gotta get him. Gets all the way to the end, threatening him with his life, and then she has the knife. This is where the knife comes in, because that's where you go. And for the close-up kills, you have the knife.
Yep.
And then, she killed, like he says where the daughter is. She goes find the daughter. And the daughter, of course, has been drugged up with heroin or whatever to stay at this place. So Matilda goes in there, saves the daughter, takes her to like this cliffside retreat or whatever. And the daughter's dying in her hands. And then the daughter said the same line that Leon said, or somebody said in that first movie: when you're afraid of death, you learn to appreciate life. And that's where the movie ends. We don't know if she lived or died. They're just on the hill watching the sun rise, basically. Yeah. After this whole night. But that would be like the plot line for Matilda.
I like that. So she, unlike spoilers for Leon, obviously, unlike Leon where he dies at the end, you're gonna have her live. She's not gonna follow that same trajectory where she like he dies, she's not going to.
Yeah, I want to give her a happy ending where she
Right.
probably saved the girl in time, the Zoe
Yeah.
Saldana. And the reason why I want to do that is because I can't imagine a woman leaving the life of a hitman with a man. I can't imagine that. I can't
like
see her
that.
giving up for life for Liam Hemsworth or anyone like that. It would
Also,
have to be like a Zoe Saldana or someone like that.
I like that you pick Zoe Saldana because she should be in better movies.
I love her. I want her. And that's funny too. That was sad because like she said, like she's like the first movie star to cross over like $3 billion. And I'm like, that doesn't mean a goddamn thing because she's
No.
always like the side character in those movies. But
I thought the same thing. Yeah. Yeah.
But I think it'd be such an awesome movie where where Matilda finds love again and just gets back into it. Because that's
what about the plant?
The plant, I guess there's like a little reference to it. Like maybe at the end, I don't know. Maybe that's in the beginning where she still goes to New York to like water it. But then, she goes to whoever's hiring her and they're like, hey, we got this job for you. We want you to go to Mexico. But in the beginning, she's still watering the plant.
Yeah. I like that. I think you would need that scene.
Yeah.
I think that'd be.
I was gonna say at the end, but I really want them watching that sunset together. That's that visual.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. No, I think that because that was the thing when I watched this, I was like, what, it's a movie that doesn't necessarily require a sequel.
Not really, no.
It's a wonderful one and done thing, and so it's like, well, what would you do? I think that's actually quite a nice idea, though. Is that I like that you see that she hasn't really found love, and so it's kind of made her stay cold. Yeah. And which is kind of it does sort of mirror Leon's journey, I think, as well, because he was very, he wasn't cold, but he was a little isolated. He was too isolated.
It was almost like he put on a different persona. Like when he became the hitman, he was the hitman. Because there's that scene where he's in the lobby where the guy's like, "Oh, how's everything going?" Doesn't even hear him. He's going to the job, and it's almost like he's invincible. Like honestly, like there's like it's so weird because like there's like one part when he comes back and he has like a gunshot wound, but like it doesn't really affect him.
Yes,
it's so weird.
Yes,
it's almost like he's like sort of like mythical creature.
Yes,
or some kind of being, almost like a Baba, like John Wick kind of guy.
Yes,
but it's great.
Who would be the villain? Because Gary Oldman's performance, he's insane.
I would kind of want to bring that back, where you think this guy's sort of good, but then when you see the dark side, when he attacks Matilda and turns. Oh man, you would really need somebody who's good.
Yes.
Maybe bring back Gary Oldman just as a different actor because he looks different because he's older. Sort of have like the Mad Max kind of mentality where you just bring back the actor from the original one and just have him play a different character. Or even like Kill Bill Volume 2 where that guy who's playing the Mexican, he's the sheriff from the first movie playing a different character.
Right.
And Gary Oldman's so good at acting, I feel like maybe just do like a little bit something different. That'd be great.
He could do. That would be interesting because he does look, it's very, very different because he's so young.
Yeah. If he's so young in that movie, it's ridiculous how young he looks. It's kind of off-putting. Like, oh my god, because I'm so used to him with like a mustache or goatee or like wrinkles, but in that movie he's just like clean.
I know. What was also funny to me watching this, I don't know why this kept popping into my head, but because of the type of places that Leon and Matilda were staying at in the first movie, I kept thinking like
too, because she's globetrotting. Oh shit, that works out too. Moving from room to room.
Yes. I kept thinking like I feel like some of these scenes are taking place in the friend's apartment because some of the hallways like they look like the dingy friend's apartment hallways. And I'm like, I feel like Ross or Rachel are just gonna come like walk past them at one point as they're like, but no, I thoroughly enjoy it. This movie is terrific, and I think that sequel idea is a lot of fun. Because it's a different kind of legacy sequel as well. It gives Natalie Portman something good to do as opposed to doing She-Thor. But it's a bit like Blade Runner 2049. That's the impression I'm getting, in that 2049 is a Blade Runner movie that really doesn't dwell too much on Blade Runner.
Right.
It's just it's set in that world. It's got some vague links, and
Mhm.
sure, yes, you bring Harrison Ford back for that little bit at the end, but like, she's your connection to the legacy, right?
Mhm.
Matilda is, but she's
Mhm.
off doing her own thing, and it's not about the events that happened when she was a kid. It's just catching up with that world through her. I like that. I actually think that could work.
We could work that in too. We could have Zoe Saldana have like a garden, like
Mm,
a greenhouse.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
shit, that's good. That's good shit, Marcus. Good pieces, Marcus. These are good pieces. But yeah, I want to see that. I want to see
Hmm.
that because like it's just she's so cold.
Yeah.
She's not feeling it, and then that
Did
life
she
comes back
finish?
to her.
Did she finish school? I guess if she's going back to water the plant, then she must have finished school.
I
Yeah.
think so. We'll have her like hug somebody there, or
Yeah.
maybe that place becomes like the new Hitman kind of thing where that's where she's working out of. It's
Or
all
she buys place, because also the other thing is, we don't do we know how much money Leon had?
I don't know, but it's 5,000 a head, and he's like killing like 20 people at each one of these things.
Yeah.
Good
I
lord.
I feel like he must have a lot of money, and because he's kind of he's not he's uneducated.
Yeah, he's like a simpleton almost.
Yes. And so it's like, I'm like, does he doesn't know how much money he has, because he's like living poor, and it sounds like he has a lot of money,
Yeah.
because the guy's like, oh, fine, fine, here's $1,000, go away.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I think he probably has like millions of
Millions.
pounds
Yeah.
from these
Millions.
hits, and I'm curious to know how that affected or influenced Matilda's life as well. All that
Mhm.
all that money. How far did that get her? And is it still getting her?
Hang on. If it's Luke Bresson, the father would probably be like Morgan Freeman.
Mm,
And he's at that old age where he could probably be mean. Hmm. He's
that could
too old
work.
though. He's too
I
old.
was thinking that. No offense to more. What about, yeah, he's a bit too old.
I still kind of like Gary Oldman playing a different version. I think that's weird. It's so weird and like works. I don't know because it's been so long.
Does he work as Zoe Saldana's father though?
Yeah, because like the wife could be like some like Vivica A.
Okay.
Fox or something.
Oh, okay.
It's
All
fine.
right.
It'll be
I'll
fine.
go with that. I'll go with that. I
Yeah.
like this idea. I like this Matilda sequel. You could I'm sure you could call it Matilda.
Yeah, I think so. But I kind of want to just call it professional. Just be like Halloween and Scream. We just call it the professional. People recognize that title.
They do. They do. Would you, but you would have that.
The foreign release would be Matilda.
The form, yeah. But would you not put something on it, like in the way like Blade Runner did, just something to slightly
No,
differentiate it?
no. We're doing
But then
legacy
don't you run the
sequel.
risk? Wouldn't you run the risk of it being like Ghostbusters 2016? No one calls Ghostbusters, is like, even on the stupid DVD case, it's like bracketed 2016.
I guess I don't know. Like in my mindset, I'm thinking like The Thing and
Right.
Halloween and Scream and Point Break or whatever the sequels are. It's like the same title.
Yeah.
It's like they don't mix it up. They want to
No.
know they want to let the audience know without thinking too hard about it of what it is.
So would you put it two? Would you go two?
Because then you have to worry about like, oh, I got to see the first one. You got to make it easy for the audience, Luke.
Okay.
Audience is simple. Like they're on their Netflix, they're on their smart TVs, and they see this little thing pop up that says The Professional with Natalie Portman, and they're going to click on it.
Would you do the have you seen the show Cobra Kai?
No, but I am aware of it.
It's hilarious.
I've seen Rich and Jay talk about it.
They it's a terrible show, but it's so fun to watch. But they have milked you don't need to go watch any of the Karate Kid movies if you've watched like any of the first 3 seasons, because they've milked every scene possible from that.
Yeah.
The reason I'm bringing that up is, would you pull in scenes from The Professional in sort of flashback ness to sort of reconnect it, or in the way Blade Runner 2049 does, they don't do that. They just sort of expect you to have seen the other one, and if you haven't, then you can go back and watch it and understand what they're talking about.
I wouldn't show any flashbacks, but I would like recreate scenes. Like I would recreate the scene where when he's outside talking to Matilda and he's like, I don't want you to do that. And she says, okay. And I don't
Yeah.
want you to do that. Okay. I would want that
weirdo.
repeat. I would want that repeated with Zoe Saldana and like Natalie Portman, where it's like, I love you and I would do anything for you, and like be okay, like that kind of thing, like romantic, but like Zoe
Right.
Saldana just keeps saying okay, and I think that'd be so amazing. Like, I want to run away with you, okay, and are you willing to leave it all? Okay, like something like that. It'd be so
Yeah.
romantic. I want
Say
that.
something except okay.
And then she says, okay, oh man, this just that's like that, like the little things. Like, you'd have to know the first movie
To
in
get
order to
that.
get these things. Even like the if When You're Afraid of Death, you'd have
Yeah.
like just that's all I want to lift. I don't want to do like whole recreation scenes.
Nice.
I don't want to be like, oh, someone serious is coming up. It's like, no, I just want to like any of the relationship dynamic. I would want to carry on to this one because it's a love story. It's
Yeah.
not really an action movie. I want to make it a love story. That's what
Yeah.
I want to do it.
Yeah.
And then it's like love first, and then action movie second. And
Yeah.
it would be so badass. I would want sort of like John Wick choreography
Mm.
with Natalie Portman. I'd want her to be in shape. I'd want her to be like flipping. Of course, you can have like stunt woman or whatever. You don't have to be
Yeah.
her, but
Yeah.
I would want that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I would want it in a different area too, because I would want it in like Mexico. Like, it's hot, people are sweaty, different kind of music. I would not want New York City again. Get New York City.
No.
want,
Yeah.
I would want a different environment for the movie
Yeah.
to take place.
Yeah. I think I love the way the environment adds something to the professional. Like, there's something so dingy and dirty about that whole movie because of the dingy and dirty areas of New York that he's working in.
Yeah.
I love that. So I love that idea of wherever you place them, that having an impact on kind of.
Yeah, because the thing in the first movie, it's like everything's dirty and ugly, but like their love
Yeah.
is pure and beautiful.
Yeah.
So I would kind of want to do that with the next one, where everything is like dangerous and exotic.
Can Matilda have a Megatron tattoo?
There would have to be a reference, wouldn't there? They'd have to be some sort of
Because she watches Transformers like 5 times in that movie.
yes. I don't know what the reference would be, but I definitely think it would be there. Like, maybe her call sign is like Megatron or something.
Yeah, or like, or if it's I don't know why I'm hung up on tattoos. Instead of a Megatron tattoo, she could have the Decepticon.
That's the reference. The plant is the tattoo.
Oh, there we go.
So we wouldn't have to go back to New York City.
Yeah,
We would just have that plant that she has tattooed on there, where it's almost fading. We'll have that as well. The tattoo is fading.
I like that.
And when the revenge starts, she goes to get it filled in again. Good pieces, Marcus. These are good pieces.
There we go. Professional number 2, but not 2. The Professional, starring Natalie Portman.
TOO.
Anything else to say on this one?
I think that's about it, because that's all I had. I had to have the knife,
good.
The knife at the end, and then when you're afraid of death, you appreciate life.
I like that, because also we didn't actually see a knife fight in the first one.
Right, and we would bring that in for the legacy.
That's why I like that. It's like, okay, everyone's been waiting for this. Again, this is perfect legacy sequel stuff that could be done, but we'll ask the question at the end. How many of these, if they actually seriously did them, would we be happy with them?
I think it would be sort of, oh my god, spoilers. I saw Spoilers. I don't think it would be as good as we're pitching it, because it's by Columbia, aka Sony.
Yeah.
So I think it would be totally sterile, and sort of Luke Breslin. He's not as creative with his visuals as much anymore.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking of like Lucy. I'm thinking of Escape Plan or whatever it is, and they're just sort of bland.
Yeah. Would you? I mean, look, if would you have him do the film again, or would you give it to someone else? And the reason is Blade Runner 2049. That's obviously not a Ridley Scott movie, but that probably helped it out.
I think so, but the sad thing is, I think we're beyond who I would want for it, because I would want Tony Scott, and there really isn't another Tony Scott anymore. Right. I think the closest one who's like doing like Tony Scott stuff would have to be like one of those like John Wick guys, or
right.
Who else?
Right.
It'd be somewhere like that who does those things.
Yeah. Yeah. In the chat before we go on to the next one, Shane Ford says he really dug Valerian.
Valerian. Yeah, Valerian was okay.
That's the movie that had
Clara Devenue or whatever her name is, and the Keanu Reeves guy.
yes, the one, and because isn't that the movie that actually the comic book was really inspirational for Star Wars.
Oh yeah, that's right. It was.
Yeah, so like, yeah, that's it. Yes, that's yes.
And it had Clive Owen in it.
I did. I remember watching that, and I didn't hate it. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it.
And that's one of the movies I wish got a sequel.
Yeah, yeah. I think the movie could have done better. I think it needed to be recast.
Yeah, that guy is a dud. The girl was okay. She's quirky for it.
Yes, yeah. But I was very kind of. I didn't buy their chemistry at all.
Yeah.
That was but I think, like, I mean, visually, like, it looked great, and it is a shame because it's like, look, this was the thing that inspired Star Wars, or one of the things. Like, they tried to sell it on that a little bit, but it's like, no, you should have, if you should have spent more time with your casting and your script, because that could have been not like the next Star Wars, but that could have been a good long, a franchise with some longevity, but I think casting was one of the big reasons why that didn't take off.
And if it were me, I wish they did a Bruce Willis cameo as Corbin Dallas just to connect the movies. Fifth Element.
Oh, right. Wait, are they connected?
There was a reference. There was like a place called Corbin's in that movie, because I believe the same book inspired Fifth Element.
Oh, I see.
So when he finally got the rights, he wanted, I think it would be nice just to, like, because he's the guy who did it, Luke Breslin. He did Fifth Element, so I feel like since he's doing another like sci-fi kind of thing, it'd be nice to, like, a little nod to Fifth Element.
Yeah. Now I follow. All right, moving on to our next one.
Joel Kinnaman!
Again, I rewatched this one as well. When I saw your tweet, it made me laugh because I was like, it was the same thing when he popped up. I was like, what the fuck was
Rick Dalton point
doing here? It was bizarre. So I've always loved this movie.
Yeah, right.
It's a very good, similar to Nice Guys. It also feels like an end of an era kind of movie.
End of era for David Fincher, where he's just like, all right, I'm going to Netflix.
Yes. And also the end of sort of like smart, nicely paced, slow burn thrillers, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think didn't he also do Gone Girl after that? Isn't that one of
I love Gone Girl. Gone Girl is my favorite David. You hate Gone Girl?
Yes,
I love Gone Girl. It's
terrible.
It's my favorite.
I don't hate it because of the movie. I hate it because the book is stupid. And
I love the movie.
And therefore, the translation of that is you're adapting a stupid story, and so if it's a dumb book, your movie's going to be dumb.
I love Gone Girl.
There were so many. I remember seeing it in the cinema and thinking, no, she wouldn't be able to get away with a fraction of the things that she's doing. Like, there's no way. There's no way. My crime
David
fiction
Fincher's romantic comedy.
Yeah.
It totally is. It's sickening. That's why I love it.
Yeah, but I feel like this one had style. I feel like this one had just a good. It just felt like it had a good drive to it. That is a shame that we didn't get a sequel, because I think I love the tone. Like, it's so visually, it's cold, and I love that. Like, it looks and you feel cold with him. Like he's in that
Mhm.
house and he's always wearing those sweatshirt jumpery things,
Yes.
cardigans and stuff.
And
And
you always hear the wind howling.
yes, in the snow, and it's always crunchy and just it's just and then what's the guy from Avengers?
Oh, Eric.
Yeah, Eric Selman, whatever. God damn it.
Yeah.
I'll look it up.
Barbarossa. No, what's his name? What was the dad's name? Not Davy Jones. You know who I'm talking about, right? The dad,
Davy,
Pirates of the
yeah.
Caribbean.
Wait. Yes, yeah.
Eric played a dad. What's his name?
Yeah. The girl with the dragon. Again, I'll look it up because
Look it up.
I know his name. It's Stellan Skarsgård. Of course I freeze on the name because it's now. But then you go to his house and it's all like it's nice and warm and clean and bright and shit. And it just this and like you go to the old man's house, the guy who Christopher Plummer,
Yeah.
right? You go to his house and it's kind of it's got an older feel to it. It's a bit kind of it's not run down, but it's old and antique and I just loved it. I love the way everything looks and I love the yeah, there's so much to love about this. Go on.
There's two things. So the name was Bootstrap Bill. That was
Bootstrap Bill.
And the other thing is I love like because David Fincher, he's sickening with how he's so control freak about his movies. But like I love Elizabeth Salander, whenever it's her apartment or her wherever she's at, it's like green, sickly.
Yes.
So when she's in her apartment, like she's eating, like she's drinking a Coke. So that red really stands out and like it contrasts with her world. And she's like having Happy Meals or like a little cookie that's like in a red box. And I was just like, oh my God, Fincher, insane man. Because I know it's intentional because I know he's like, I need a fucking red Happy Meal box there. I need her to be drinking Coke because it wouldn't be the same if she's drinking Pepsi, a blue and green. Nope, it has to be that red Coke can.
Yes.
And it's just his play with color in this movie is just fantastic. And just like you said, with all the production design of every place and then the sound design, because that wind's always howling. Whenever they're on that island, it's always howling. No matter what house they're in, it's always howling.
Yes.
And it's
great score too.
His use of color in the score and the cast.
Yeah.
Like even the younger version of Stellan Skarsgård, which I'm sad to say that actor is missing.
Julian Sands is missing. Still.
God, that's sad.
That is.
Yeah, but it's just fantastical. I love this movie.
Yeah,
it's been years since I've seen it. I haven't seen it since 2011. So when I put it in, it was good.
Yeah. Tell me about that experience because it's been so long since you've seen it. Where I watch this probably every couple of years. It somehow I put it back on.
It was okay. So the first things first. I was kind of tickled that that Led Zeppelin song was actually in the movie because I forgot about that.
Yeah.
What's it called?
The Immigrant Song.
Immigrant Song. That's actually in the movie because it's, you always watch trailers where they have a song and it's never in the movie.
Yeah.
And it's actually in the movie. And I kind of love how it's sort of David Fincher's James Bond because there's that title sequence with all that weird crap going on.
Yep.
And then just diving into it, it was just like, wow, this movie's fantastic. And I've like slept on it for like 11 years. And it's so great. And like all the visuals and seeing how he uses color in the soundtrack. Although like the extreme stuff, I'm like, I've seen 10 years of Twitter and the extreme stuff doesn't seem extreme anymore.
Wait, extreme? What do you mean?
Like the tattoo and the torture scene. What she does to him. Yeah. I'm like, I've seen worse on Twitter. It's not as gross anymore. It's like I've seen grosser shit on Twitter. Like that doesn't sound but everything else is like really great. And it just the tension and how it's like it flows. It's always moving. It's never boring. It's always like another reveal. And it doesn't like the closest thing I could think of is like Silence of the Lambs, where there's like crossover editing, where there's like two things at the same time happening, and it's so good with how she's discovering the same thing that he discovers. She discovers it through doing what she does, and then he discovers her doing like his old school way. So she's using like her modern technology and internet research, and he's just doing like, okay, I found a photo and I found another photo and they match. And she's doing all this and it collides at the same time, and it's wonderful. And it starts out the thing, and I just like that Stellan Skarsgård, like he's not really in the movie, but like his little moments like stand out to me. Like like the one of the lines that always stands out to me is like, "I never had a man in here before," and then the line that stood out to me this time, I was like, "Oh shit, that's like a great line." It's sort of like pow, like like right away when he says it is when he says "useless fucking detective," because you realize that he didn't kill Harriet.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's so perfect. And you know what's funny? Watching it now, I feel like Daniel Craig now would have been better for that role. An older Daniel Craig, because I kind of felt like he was too young in this movie. I feel like him
What's
now
interesting,
would be perfect.
The irony is that this came out a year before Skyfall. And in Skyfall, he is playing a rundown old Bond. And then he just carries on being rundown old Bond for the next 12 films that he does after that.
Yeah.
But it's true. He's right on the cusp of looking young, but also getting older. And I mean, look, if the next movie would have come out, say 2013, 2014, that would have been fine. He would have been aging into that sort of old man, news, reporter role nicely. I do wonder how much Skyfall success derailed any sort of potential sequel, or if the film, I don't know if the film didn't make enough or whatever.
I think it didn't, like, I think it barely made it.
Did it?
It's like 2011. I'm thinking of like Warhorse came out, and then Young Adult. What else was 2011? It was
X-Men First Class.
Oh God, you and your fucking X-Men. Jesus Christ. I feel like that's almost like oh my God, it's the Stellan Skarsgård of Girl with the Dragon Tattoo is your X-Men.
Yeah.
Oh God, did you ever see the movie Lincoln?
Yeah.
So whenever Lincoln talks about his stories, I feel like that scene in that movie was like, I can't bear to hear another one of your stories. That's how we feel about X-Men. I can't bear to hear X-Men. But it's fine. You love X-Men. It's sort of like my Halloween. I get it. It's like, it's like what Michael Myers used to say.
But also, I agree. Also, the other thing I was thinking about is 2011 is also the year of Captain America and Thor, and that is the rise of Marvel's takeover.
Oh God, yeah.
Because 2012 is Avengers.
Yes, and then Tintin came out. I don't know if I said that already.
Yeah, Tintin. That was good. That's another one that should have got a sequel. That was fun.
Yeah. And then Super 8 also came out in 2011.
I can forget about that one.
Green Lantern, The Vow. No, wait, Vow came out in 2012.
Yeah. But it should have done it. Because what's interesting, though, is they have actually done the trilogy. There's 3 books. There are technically 3 books that that the original writer wrote for this series. Interestingly, he wrote them and then died, and they were all published posthumously.
Whoa.
Which is quite interesting.
That is interesting.
But in Sweden, they did the 3 films. The Girl Dragon 2, the what's next? The Girl Kicked the Hornet's Nest. No, I think that's the final one.
Girl Played with Fire.
Yeah. Starring Noomi Rapace.
Yes.
Who was in Prometheus, who I've talked about a couple of times. And
who was in Sherlock Holmes.
She was in Sherlock Holmes 2, which came out 2011. Was it 2011?
No.
Yeah, it was 2011.
Sherlock Holmes. They did them back to year? Really? Because the first one was 2010.
Oh, wait. Let me think. Sherlock Holmes.
No, wait. Sherlock Holmes was in 2009.
2009. Yep. So, 2 was 2011. Yep. There we go. That's another one should have got a goddamn sequel. Maybe. I don't know. 2 wasn't very good. Sherlock Holmes 2 wasn't very good. Maybe
Come on. Don't say that about Jude Law. Don't say that about Jude Law.
I know actors. I love all the actors in it. It's the story wasn't. It had great moments, like the scene of them running through the woods with
absolutely.
That's a great scene. Like I love that. Even the torture scene is pretty good when he's got that. He's hooked him. But then there are just other bits where I'm like, oh, this is a little bit too cheesy. But yeah. But so it's interesting to me that the starring Noomi Rapace, they did all three of them in Swedish, which I recently purchased that trilogy so I can sit and watch that whole version. I remember watching The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo starring her Noomi a long time ago, and thinking to myself, they must be kicking themselves not having not like done an English version at the same time, like with Dracula, like just film it twice, because you've got everything here. It's perfect. And if you just get your people to do it in English, then you can attract that whole English market, that whole there's really, as much as I love David Fincher's like design, what he's like, the style of his movie, there's not like a big difference, I don't think, visually between the two. I think they have that, they do have a similar vibe to them.
Yeah.
That kind of makes you think like, it's such a shame that we actually do have this whole trilogy is actually technically done. But I guess they tried to do a sequel starring that Claire Foy, who was the queen in The Crown.
Yeah.
And that one was not based on the original author. That was based on one of those, like, someone else continues the franchise.
Yeah.
And it just looked, it didn't even look anything like this. It just looked like shit. I never saw
it either, but I do know it was like a fuck you, it's January movie. They released it like January or February. It was like,
oh yeah. Yeah, there you go. There you go. But yeah, this is one that I think they definitely should have continued that franchise. It's a shame.
I just remembered there's another actor other than Joel Kinnaman. There was another actor in Girl with Dragon Tattoo. I'm like, what the fuck?
Robin Wright?
It was Miss Honey from the movie Matilda. She plays the lawyer / sister to Daniel Craig in the movie.
Oh, right.
And I was like, what the fuck is she doing in this? It's Miss Honey. What? What? The girl from Army of Darkness. What?
If I had one complaint about this movie, is there is an element of Daniel Craig not giving a fuck. And that is his accent. He's the only person who doesn't attempt a sort of, European accent. He just, I'm gonna stick with my English accent, and that's that.
I love it.
Everyone else does it. Everyone else puts on an accent except for him, which I found.
He doesn't need to try. Have you seen Tomb Raider? Yeah. He does not need to try to do accents.
No, I haven't seen Tomb Raider.
What?
Wait.
The Angelina Jolie one. That's
not
about.
True. I did see that, but I have no memory of it. I'm like Gandalf. I have no memory of this place. I have no memory of it. None at all. None at all.
None at all.
Let's see. In the chat real quick. Biffer, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo got a sequel starring Claire Foy. Well, it's not a sequel. No. It's not a real sequel.
Nope.
That's the problem. It's the actual sequel is I think it's The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest, and then there's
like a Jack Ryan movie. It's by itself.
Yeah, it's just this. It's based on a book not written by the original author. It was their cheap attempt to reboot the franchise with Claire Foy, but it's not. It doesn't even have Daniel Craig's character. It's just this. It's off in its own. It's not a real sequel. It's the equivalent of Dragonheart 2.
It's the equivalent of, we have to keep the movie rights, so we have to make this movie.
Yes, yeah. So that one doesn't count. Let's see. Okay, we'll move on. That's Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Oh yeah. Do I have any notes on this? Oh yeah. So if you were to do your sequel, would you keep the James Bond opening for each one of them?
Yes.
Okay.
I would, because I loved it. It was. There's a part of me that's like, would you keep the same song? Because I almost feel like that song is the song for this movie, for this franchise. Because it's so a different cover of it. There you go. I like that. Yes. What other notes you got? Any other notes?
Just Joel Kinnaman and then Julian Sands. Those are the things.
Yes, I did wonder
Is Joel
I did
Kinnaman
wa-
sort of like a sequel character?
That's what I was wondering. I was like, even at that point, I was like, I think he was kind of famous-ish. So it's weird to cast someone famous-ish in a role where he does nothing.
Yeah, it's like Tron Legacy, where you see what's his face?
Yeah,
What's his name? The guy, the Christopher Nolan baby. What's his name?
I don't know.
You know who I'm talking about. What's his name?
Probably.
Cillian Murphy?
Yes. Yes, Cillian Murphy. Yep.
Yeah, Cillian Murphy. Okay.
That's it. Yeah. 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 I think there would be more with. I think there's meant to be more with him later on. But because that one was a weird one. But yeah. Anything else?
I think that's it.
Cool.
It's a good movie though.
It is very good. Let's see, just a couple more things in the chat. Shane in the chat. Shane says, I remember being confused in 2011 because I saw the poster for the American Dragon tattoo, being like, wait, didn't they start to come out? Yes, it is. It was very confusing at that time because I think both came out like almost around the exact. They came out like the exact same time ish.
Yeah, I think like the third trilogy was finishing, and then this came out as like the third movie came out.
Yeah, so it was a
happened
weird
again.
Yeah, very, very weird. Do different. Shane suggests that they do different Led Zeppelin songs for each movie. That's an interesting idea. I quite like immigrant song covers, but that's another idea to play with. Oh, Biffer says Phoebe Waller-Bridge is making a Tomb Raider TV show. I would rather be kicked in the balls than watch that.
I don't watch TV.
Phoebe, no, I just find her unfunny and not interested in that.
Spoilers for the next Luke Deckard show when he talks about
I don't think I don't think I could watch it. I really don't.
Talk about it. Do it.
Well,
watch
it's not
the whole
come
season.
out. It's not come out yet. I want to talk about Star Trek Picard when that comes out because I've got high hopes.
He's got high hopes.
I do.
Luke's got high hopes.
All right, should we go to the next one? Let's go to the
next. What's the next one?
Let's see here. Oh wait! Oh my God! Are we in? Is that the end?
We did it. We almost did.
End. I was thinking that we got more to go. Yeah, girl.
I thought you had a list. I'm like, let's talk to the list.
All right. What we can talk about though is we can this moment can be the moment where we talk about sequels that shouldn't have. Actually, hang on. Honorary mentions. I did I did a podcast ages ago on Dread. I brought David Bishop, who's an old writer, who's a writer for 2080 comics and all that kind of stuff. We talked about Dread, talked about the original film in 2012. I've always been a fan, and I've always thought that Dread 2012 absolutely deserved a sequel. That should have happened. And I always wanted to see Spider-Man 4. That's another one. And in terms of TV shows, I did mention I do have Freaks and Geeks down. Had one season. It was great. Really should have had a sequel. Really should have had a second season. It's a shame that it didn't. But yeah. What about you? You got what do you have any honorary mentions?
John Carter. I really like that first John Carter movie.
A lot of people mention that, yeah.
That one I really liked. That's one where I want to get it on Blu-ray soon. Where it's like I haven't watched in a long time. Yeah. But I really like that world. I like that actress. I don't know her name. She was in your favorite movie, Wolverine Origins. But yeah, I just like that world they did, and I always wanted to see a sequel to that because I always liked that actor. What's his name? Gambit. Damn it. Anyway, I thought he's a good guy. He just got bad movies. Yeah. And then what's another sequel I was just thinking of? I think one more season of My Name is Earl. I would have loved just to wrap up that story, that series. Okay. And then what was I thinking of? What would be like a good sequel? Because I'm looking around here trying to like grab at anything or think about movies. Like I think I enjoyed Lone Ranger. I would have loved to see a sequel to that.
Interesting. I did not enjoy that. That was painful.
It's Gore Verbinski. I like him. He's a good guy.
I like some of his stuff. I really do like some of his stuff, but there was something about that one that just didn't. For me, it didn't work. But I get why someone might want a sequel.
Because like you could finally go off on all the crazy Lone Ranger stuff in the sequel.
Yeah.
I feel.
Yeah.
Because that was all about establishing and being weird.
Yeah.
But I think in the next one, could you really do something?
Yeah.
What's another sequel another legacy sequel I'd love to see, but it's too late now, even though they're going to move forward with it, would be Twister. I wish there was a legacy sequel with Bill Paxton. 3D, that would have been perfect, but now he's gone, sadly. So
yeah,
it would never be right. And even Philip Seymour Hoffman, it's not right without both of them.
Yeah, that's true.
You need those two guys to do a true legacy sequel to Twister, and you'd never be able to do that.
Yeah.
And of course, I think one sequel that will never, ever, 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 ever happen, but I would love to see it, would be Speed 3 with Keanu Reeves. I would love to see that.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
It would be like him and the son of Harry working as cops, and then they're being tested by this terrorist, of course. And then at the end, you find out the terrorist is Harry's son, because he's pissed at Keanu Reeves' character. Like, it's your fault that we ever got in this situation.
Yeah.
And he's getting revenge for that.
That could be fun.
But yeah, those are some ideas.
Just a couple quick things. In the chat, Biffer says Picard season 3 damage already done. I disagree. I know that the current handling of Star Trek by Alex Kurtzman has been piss poor. And I haven't really enjoyed Star Trek since Voyager came to an end. A little bit of Enterprise, I suppose. But the JJ films, Frank, I know you sort of like the JJ films. I'm not a big fan of them. But from what I know of Picard season 3, it is a massive course correction, and there are elements of it that sort of ignore the other two seasons, and it can almost be standalone. So I'm happy. I'm excited to see what they do with it. Shane says that we really need more detective films overall. I agree. The new book that I'm working on, I'm like, this would actually be, I should be writing as a script, and I should try and sell it as a script, because I think it'd be quite fun. Biffer wants a Tropic Thunder sequel.
They wanted to do that with Tom Cruise, right?
It did.
It was going to be the Tom Cruise movie. Oh man, that's so good. I love when Tom Cruise does villain roles. I feel like those are the only two. It was Collateral with him as Vincent, and that producer guy.
Yes,
because he gets like really dark as that producer guy. He's like, well, we'll say we're very sad. We'll create a fundraiser in his name, and then we're gonna, get all our money back from this thing where you just want to.
Yeah, no, I love that. Shane says Hannah from 2011 should have a sequel. I don't know what that is. I'm sorry.
Hannah was like an action movie with the girl with the blue. What's her name? The Ladybird girl, right? Ladybird. What's her name? I'll look it up. Pull it up, Jamie. Let's see.
Biffer says. In the meantime, Biffer says, imagine David Fincher, the game sequel. There we go.
Yeah, it would be his son, probably, if he had a son.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then also says, check out a French detective movie called The Night of the 12th. We can do that. That sounds, I'm all for that. Let's Night of the 12th. Okay, 2020.
That's the wrong Hannah.
What did you pull up? Hannah Montana?
No, it was some movie starring Charlotte Rampling.
Oh, right.
Quite right.
Yes.
Quite right. Yes, quite right.
But let's see. How do I get this to stop doing what it's doing? So, like I said, we should touch upon movies that, just briefly, movies that should never have had a sequel.
Ghostbusters.
I agree. I know you changed your mind after you watched that clip.
Did you watch that clip? Isn't it like the sweetest freaking thing?
It was. I agree.
Okay, so context. So the clip is, there's these kids in New York City, like dad, son, and the best friend of the kid. And they're like, oh, we're seeing the, behind the scenes of Ghostbusters. They're filming over there. And the guy is doing security. He says, hey, hang on, let me see what I could do. So the security goes away and says, hang on, come on set. I'm going to show you this. And they get like VIP access. This little boy and his best friend, they go back there and they see like Rick Moranis sitting in the chair.
Yeah.
And it's so cute to hear these kids, because they're not calling them, oh my God, there's Harold Ramis, there's Bill Murray. They're like, oh, there's Peter, there's Egon. And it's like the cutest fucking thing you've ever seen. And it's like all VHS footage. So the dad must be carrying like this huge ass thing on him. because like that thing must have been huge because it's like the early 90s. Like
Yes.
not even, I think
Yeah.
it was 80s, like 89. So it'd have to be 88. So
Something
the
like
thing's
that.
got to be huge.
Mm. Oh
And
yeah.
he's recording all this, and it's like Bill Murray and all of them in full gear.
Yeah.
And the thing that's so great about it is like the actors aren't correcting the kids. The actors are literally acting like, okay, I'm Ray, this is Egon, that's Peter.
I love
And
that.
it was so cute.
Yeah.
And that little thing kind of redeems all of Ghostbusters 2, because that little moment, that
Yeah.
little bit of magic
Yeah.
of like where Ghostbusters was real to these little kids
Yeah.
makes that movie worth it. Honestly, I think so.
Yeah. I'm torn because I agree. When I watched that, I was like, we wouldn't have this moment for these kids, which is really sweet,
Yeah.
without that subpar movie.
Yeah, it's a
So,
subpar movie, but that, oh my God, when they're just saying it's Peter, it's
you know,
so heartwarming.
when I was watching that clip, I was thinking, you know what? If this was like a kid today stumbling upon like an
Marvel.
Avengers movie,
Yes, that'd be
it would just be
insane.
dickheads in green suits.
Oh, jeez.
Because they don't actually wear the costume. They just wear green suits, and they get digital suits thrown on them by their billions of CGI drones that work for them. It's a Spider-Man someday. Well, all I see is a guy with a gray suit with a bunch of dots on it. Like
Yeah,
you're not going to get that magic
not
today.
gonna get that. Nope.
Not at all. Biffer in the chat says the worst sequels, Tron Legacy.
Wrong.
You love that movie.
I love Tron. Tron's so
Me too.
freaking good. What the hell? Like I can't grasp how great Tron is. It's like, I don't know. I love Tron. Both of them.
Tron.
Tron.
So sequels. Yeah, Ghostbusters 1. You know what? This might be controversial, but I think Daniel Craig should have only had one Bond movie.
Oh my God. How could you say such things? Have you not seen Skyfall?
Look, I know Skyfall is a fun movie.
But sacrifices have to be made.
They do. I mean, because Quantum of Solace is crap. Spectre is not good, and No Time to Die is.
Oh my God, is that many? Jesus, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Only one.
Yeah, he only made one other good one, and it's sandwiched between all of these other shit ones. And it's like he should have been the modern day George Lazenby. He should have had one movie that was good and be done.
Yeah,
that would have
like
been
Pierce Brosnan, where he never made another one. He only made GoldenEye, and that was good.
Yes, yeah. On what? No, Tomorrow Never Dies is good.
Which one is that? Is it because
the
there's
second
that doesn't help me. Is it the one with the Denise Richards, or is it the one with the Asian?
Yes, it's one with Michelle Yeoh.
Is that the one with the newspaper guy?
Yes. It's honestly, go back.
I'd have to watch it again.
Go back and rewatch it. It's aged well, especially in the era of like fake news and stuff. It's so funny because it's like, you know what? It was happening back then, guys. Yeah, and it's always been happening.
Yeah, because the villain in that one is Elizabeth Swann's dad, right?
Yes, it is. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. But yes, Shane says that he loves. Say again.
We should talk about pirates.
We should.
I don't know why. I don't know why. Like every time we talk about it, it's like I want to talk about it more.
We can talk about pirates.
I don't. No, not now. Not now. It'd be like another episode, but like
that's fine. Because the other thing is like I did an episode on pirates with Phil on his channel, but I think he like muted that video, so like no one's ever going to see it. So like I'm more than happy to have another pirate chat. Shane says that the train fight in Spectre makes the rest of the film worth it. No, it doesn't. I'm sorry, buddy. It doesn't. The train fight is fun, but there's fun moments in Spectre. I mean, the opening sequence is a hell of a lot of fun, but he only needed one.
He's no Ethan Hunt.
He is no Ethan Hunt. This one is probably less controversial, but I put RoboCop 2 and 3. Don't need him. I
love RoboCop 2. Let's keep RoboCop 2 and never make it 3.
Okay, I'll meet you there. I'll do that.
Yeah.
This is an obvious one. No Star Wars sequels. None. After the trilogy, the original trilogy stays.
Okay.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I need to clarify. The original trilogy stays, but no prequels, no legacy sequel, nothing. Just the original 3. It's all we needed. Write your books, have your comics. That's fine, but we don't need anything more.
Yeah, because I don't know. I kind of feel like we do need Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, no, the first 3.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Shane says that he wishes Kingsman never got a sequel. I am 100% behind you on that. That sequel to Kingsman was shockingly bad. Did you see it, Frank? You like it, don't you? Oh, god damn it.
I love all 3 of them. I love all 3 of them.
Wait, there's 3? There's 3?
Yes. What? The third one has Ralph Fiennes. It's a prequel.
Oh.
Where they form Kingsman. And I kind of like it. I like it.
I'm not seeing the prequel. I don't know if I can't comment on that, but the first one was wonderful, and that second one, when he like plants the device, the tracking device on the I remember watching it with my friend Deej. We were at the cinema and we were just like, what the flip is happening here? I can't believe they're visually showing that.
They did it.
In like a PG-13 movie.
They did it. Wasn't it rated R? People get like chopped up in it, and it has like freaking Elton John like playing piano. It's got.
I'm not gonna lie. Ever since I moved to the UK, ratings have become ambiguous to me because the rating system is slightly different. So some things that are like an R would be like a 15 here, and then which means or they'll be an 18, but like it's weird sometimes.
Yeah. But I like Kingsman.
I like the first one. This one I think you'll probably agree with. Well, there's next two you'll probably agree with. Nothing after Terminator 2.
Yeah.
Terminator 2 needed to be the end. And in my opinion, it is the end.
Even though like I'm kind of nostalgic for the third one. Even I'm not going to say it's good. Not at all.
I'm with you. I know what you mean.
But like I'm nostalgic because that was like right at that era. 2003 was incredible. We had Bruce Almighty, Terminator 3. Shit, there's like another third big movie that came out. Hulk. That was like a huge one. Where it's like, oh shit, this is so amazing. But yeah, like I'll always be nostalgic for 3 because they actually had like the balls to have like a downer ending where like the world ends, and that's kind of cool. But other than that, like that's like the only redeeming thing about it.
Yep. We also 2003. You know what else we had in 2003?
I was gonna say Finding Nemo, but I'm not sure.
X-Men 2, X-Men United.
Fuck's sake! I walked into that one again. Damn it! It's like stubbing my toe. I keep running into the X-Men. Okay, I should explain my X-Men. Have I explained X-Men on your show yet?
I don't know, but go ahead.
I gotta give context to your viewers. So X-Men, I have no problem with the X-Men movies, but the thing is, they never stick with me. They're always one ear out the other. And no matter how many times I watch them, it's like every couple of years I rewatch them. I'm like, oh yeah, this is fine. This is okay. This is good. But like they leave my mind. No retention up here. They leave my mind. And I think it's because I didn't grow up with them. I think all my friends had at least like a VHS copy at home or rented it often. I never did that. It's like I saw them in the theater and that was it. That is it. But like, that's how I feel about the X-Men movies. It's like one ear out the other. But I don't hate them. I don't hate them at all. But I just find it funny that Luke always brings it up. No matter what happens in the conversation, it's like, oh yeah, how's the weather today? It's like, I don't know. It's a little bit of a storm coming on. And it's like, damn it, Luke. And it's like, how are you doing? It's like, oh, I don't know. I'm kind of feeling a little bit older, like old man Wolverine. I'm like, no. It's like, Luke, where do you want to go out to eat? He says, I don't know. I'm kind of feeling like Taco Bell, like Professor X. It's like, no, stop, Luke. Stop it.
I do. I love Meg. But it's true. I grew up with the cartoon. I loved the cartoon. I adored that. And I vividly the X-Men movies. I think I was that perfect age because
those were right at the
yeah. I was a teenager. I was a preteen right when they were coming out, and it just sort of
they were cool.
Yes,
they were so fucking cool. And I remember like those toy lines.
Yes,
and it was incredible. Like the comic book tie-ins.
Yes,
I'm there, but it's just like I'm not all the way there. I think I'm more nostalgic for Raimi because I had those at home. I watched at the time, but I didn't have X-Men.
Yeah. The thing is, I I probably love Raimi's Spider-Man as much as I love X-Men.
I can see
Because
that.
yeah, those two to me, because those are my two most favorite superheroes. Everything else I don't care about. Which is so funny because I love Smallville, which I know I mentioned it, but like I'm not mentioning it, but it's funny because I'm not a big Superman fan, like at
Yes.
all. But I love Smallville, but like it's
Because you could do a lot with those characters. That's the thing.
yeah,
That's what makes
yeah,
those things so good.
yeah,
Same thing with
yeah,
X-Men. You could do so many things with those characters.
yes. I'm telling you, Wolverine fighting Omega Red in Europe with Yukio should have
I just want
happened.
to see a scene where freaking. Oh wait, did it happen? I think it did. Where he was on a motorcycle and he jumped on the helicopter. I'm
He
just.
does. It happens in Wolverine Origins.
Yeah.
In that there's that scene where he like leaps off the hill, off the bike, and and his claws slice the blades. There's that slow mo scene where the cult member, foom, 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 and then he grabs hold of the thing as it crashes and he goes rolling off of it.
You know what there should be? I just popped in my head because I'm like, okay, since we can't do that for an action sequence, there should be a sequence where a plane is crashing. He's in it. He gets sucked out, but he's on the side of the plane, like koosh,
Yeah,
and has to get back in it. As he gets back in it, there's still bad guys in there. He has to fight them in zero gravity. It'd be amazing.
That'd
be so cool.
I'm up for that.
I want to see that scene.
Yes. That's never going to happen. Unfortunately, we'll never see something that cool.
I know it'd be too expensive too. To be like, I could pitch this. I'd be like, I want to see that in a movie, and they'd be like, that's impossible, Frank. You can't do that.
Yeah, no,
they can't be in 0G with Wolverine with the claws.
Even that'd be so fucking cool. This is another one I think you'll agree with. No Toy Story 4.
Oh, absolutely. Fuck Toy Story 4. It doesn't exist.
No,
it does not
exist.
Agree. Should we talk about that just to explain why we don't think there should be a Toy Story 4?
Yeah, absolutely.
They raise too many questions they raise too many questions of things that you never thought about. Like there's scenes in there where like there's a teddy bear that's been ripped in half and you find out that both halves are living. And it's like, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to know that. And then there's flashback sequences, like where they actually see the vision of what the toy is thinking. It's like, how about we do this? And it's like, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Nope. Yeah. And then they don't know what to do with Buzz Lightyear. And it gets increasingly worse with each installment.
Yes.
No idea.
Yeah.
And then I can't stand that Woody left his friends of 40 years with a doll that he only knew for 2 years. That's insane to me. Although it is love, I kind of understand it, but it's like I don't see it. I didn't see it. It almost should have been like a sad ending where he realizes that they're not on the same page anymore and they have to separate, which would make more sense other than him running away with her, being a nomad where they're just going from place to place aimlessly. It's like he could have done that. He could have went to Tokyo to do that and just lived in the box.
Exactly.
I don't know. And then because he's gone through so much shit. He's gone through so much shit for his friends.
Yes.
And it doesn't make sense that he would leave them or even get like a midlife crisis. Like he should have had a midlife crisis when he was at the freaking daycare. He should have had a midlife crisis. We kind of did when he went to that Al's Toy Barn kind of thing.
Well, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. His crisis was Toy Story 2.
Yeah.
And bringing it back in 4 was just, it was lame.
Yeah, and then they repeat the same stupid gag where all the toys are driving the RV. They did that with Finding Dory, where the fish are driving the truck at the end.
Yes.
And it's just like, stop that joke. It's been done.
Yes. Yeah. I agree. I watched it and I thought, no, this movie doesn't count. Also, Forky. What constitutes
that raises too many questions too. Jesus.
Like that. No, that didn't make any sense to me. I didn't like that. It didn't work for me.
If anything, it should have been like the joke of like it's not alive, but Woody has to carry it around because he cares about Bonnie.
Yes.
And it sort of becomes like a Castaway thing where he's talking to it like Wilson or something.
That could have been fun. That could have been funny. But I didn't find the character funny at all. I found him. I was like, yeah, leave him in the trash. He is trash.
He is trash.
Like,
and that's a weird thing to do because he's like all suicidal and it's like this kid movie.
I know it was very weird, and I didn't like what they did with Bo Peep. I didn't like her development into this sort of rogue warrior ninja Bo Peep shepherdess. No. Just like living in a carnival.
Yeah, and then the creepy doll who just wants to be loved. That was weird.
Yeah, no, it's Toy Story. What do you count? for fun those like little mini episodes. You know, they did like those like short Toy Story.
Those are fine. I was okay with their little TV shorts, like the one like the Land That Time Forgot, where they're playing with dinosaur toys, and all
Yes.
the dinosaur toys basically think they're real. That was
Yeah,
fun. I
I
like when
agree.
they go to that hotel and it's like a horror movie, but they all get
Spooky
picked
one.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one. Those are fine.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I did
where
too.
Buzz Lightyear finds that little Happy Meal toy, that's fine.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I was always fine with those, but and I thought, you know what, that was a perfect way, in my opinion, to keep Toy Story kind of going.
Yeah, without
And
having to
then they just had to
dig it
do
back
that
up.
fourth one. They just had to do it.
It was
God dang it.
ass.
I am firm on this. Nothing after Die Hard 3. Die Hard 3 should have been the end.
I'm
Everything
okay
after
with the
Die Hard
Legacy
3
sequel.
is
If they
not
did,
good.
I like 4. 4's fine.
Isn't that the one with Kevin Smith in it? And he's like a computer hack.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's
It's not great. If they never did a 5, which I never wish they never did a 5, because the 5 was like, oh fuck. But like 4 is okay.
Was 5 the one with his son played by Jai Courtney?
Yes. Ass. And they reuse audio from Die Hard 4.
Do they?
Yeah, Bruce Willis didn't want to do ADR, so they use a line from the car chase where you know, when he's in the truck, he's like, "Is that all you got?" They use that line again in Die Hard 5, and I only know that because I watched the marathon in the theater, where it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at the theater. So we just watched 4, and like in the 5th one, you hear that audio again. It's like, I just heard that.
You just heard that, yeah. Oh my gosh, that's embarrassing.
But I'm okay with 4, and I think it's just because right during that year, 2007, I was in like action movie mode, because that was the year with Hot Fuzz and with
Born 3.
I should explain why, because Hot Fuzz has all these action movie references. So I was going back to watch Lethal Weapon and Dirty Harry and all those old movies. So that's why I was thinking that. So when I was like, you know, into watching old action movies, and then they released Die Hard 4, I'm like, this is my element. This is made for me. So that's why I'm like, I'm okay with Die Hard 4.
Yeah.
It gets a pass for me. There's a few years where I didn't like it, but I'm like, it's okay. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
We'll jump to the chat real quickly. Biffer says, "Kill Bill, Lord of the Rings, 2003." Oh yeah, right. He's mentioned that. Yes, those are
awesome.
Great.
Awesome.
Kill Bill. That I would be fine with a Kill Bill 3, Volume 3.
I know they keep talking about it.
Yeah. Shane says, remember shorts. Oh, and yeah, he says a lot of people say, this is Shane says, a lot of people say the first says that First Blood should have never had a sequel, but I actually like and think some of the sequels are better than the original. What do you think, Frank?
I like 2. I think I could even say I love 2. Love 2 because it's so ridiculous, because at the end, like, he shoots up that little control room. I love it. 3, I've only seen parts of. I can't say too much on it. The bloody Rambo 2008, it has a place in cinema. I'm okay with that, even though it's not my favorite. Last Blood is depressing as fuck, because at the end of that violent Rambo where he actually goes home, I think I cry every time. It's just the thought of that, where he finally has the nerve to go home.
Yeah,
it's like, that's all I want for Rambo. Like, that's all I've ever wanted for Rambo, is just for him to go home and be happy. And then Last Blood like rips the rug away, where his home gets attacked and there's no more home. He can only be Rambo. And it's like, fuck. It's like, that's it. It's like, I want characters to be happy. I think I was talking about this in my last stream, where it's like, I'm kind of okay with Nev Campbell not being in Scream anymore, because like she could finally fucking be happy. Like, let her live her life. What was another movie where I was like, oh man, like it was a Long Kiss Goodnight, because I was kind of thinking like that should have gotten a sequel, but it's like, no, I kind of like Charlie living with her kid and her husband, and they just live their life. She doesn't have to be an action hero anymore. She could be that single mom and just live in peace. Like, I want that. Like, close the book. But yeah, what were we talking about? Rambo? Yeah, I want Rambo. It's just sad when they just, like, when they pull that away. It's almost like that Toy Story 4 thing. It's like, fuck, dude, like, he's always going to be that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they pull that rug away. It's like, I don't dig it.
Yeah. Biffer says that he watches Rambo 2 and Rocky 3 every year. There you go. And Shane says Rambo 2008 is the best Suicide Squad film.
Because it's just the one guy.
A couple others that I have on my list, and then I do you have any others that you can think of?
I didn't have a list. I didn't have anything. I'm not prepared. I put the Harry Potter sequels
Fantastic Beasts never should have got made.
I don't give like okay. So I don't even know how to explain this, but like I don't give a crap about any of the Harry Potter movies. It's not for me.
Fair enough.
It's like I don't. I say like I'm not into kid movies, but it's like I like Jumanji and shit. So I can't really say I don't like kid movies. So I don't even know what it is. I don't know if it's like all the teamwork and friendship and them going to school and the magic. I have no idea.
Yeah.
It's just I don't dig it. I don't dig
Yeah.
that world. I don't like it. It's like I don't. I tried to give it a chance. I saw the first one as a kid in the theater, and then I saw the last movie in the theater, and then I rented them, throughout the library and just to watch them. And it's just like, yeah. And then the Fantastic Beasts, the only one I saw was the latest one with Mads Mikkelsen, and that's the only reason why I went to see it.
Yeah, it's the only one I haven't seen. I was so done by the second one. Did I even see the second one?
Probably not.
I think you know what I think I did. I think I did.
Damn it, Luke! Keep giving them your money. Damn it!
Well, I don't know if I paid to see it.
Oh,
I don't know. With me and Harry Potter, I like the style. I like the look of the world, right? Like as in like I like the quirky looks of things. I don't really care for the story. It's just that I get kind of bored. The only way that I ever watch Harry Potter movies is with riff tracks. I never actually just watch straight Harry Potter because I watch it because the jokes are so good. The way they make the way they just rip it apart. I'm like, this is the best way to watch it. Like you can kind of dip into the fun magicness, but actually you're just sitting there laughing at how goofy every movie is and how bad all the acting is like across the board from everybody.
I like the time travel one. That one's interesting.
That's the only one I think people generally say is a decent one. And I think
then there's another one where it like riffs off Fight Club. Like there's like thing like how it's like me where it's like I see like connections to other movies. It's like I'm like the Neo where I see the code.
Yeah.
Where with that one where it's like Fight Club is like they etch people's hands and it's almost like the Tyler Durden kiss.
Oh yeah.
And then they create the Dumbledore's army, which is almost like We Are Robert Paulson.
Yeah.
And it's just it was so weird.
I think that's the Order of the Phoenix.
Probably
that's the one. Yeah. I think that's the one.
It's like Fight Club. It's weird.
Yeah, I think that. I think it's that one. Yeah. So Shane says I don't dig him. I'm assuming he's referring.
This is a reference
to Mads Mikkelsen.
No. He's just referencing because I always say that on my live stream. I don't dig him, and I don't dig the vibe he brings on a set.
Oh, okay.
It's a line from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
There we go.
It's I always say that on my live stream, so I get what Shane's saying. He's one of my subscribers. Yeah.
I mean, I watch it as well, but I'm not good with retaining certain things like that. I also think Indiana Jones 3 should be the end. We don't need any more. 4 was terrible, and there's a part of me that wants to be excited for 5, but at the same time, I can't. It's he's too old.
I want to see the deep fake technology in the new one.
I do too. I admit
that's what's selling me. If they didn't have that, I wouldn't give a shit. But I think that's what's really, really selling me. I want to see that deep fake. Give me that deep fake.
And like I know
they fumbled the ball so hard they didn't upload in 4K. They uploaded like the 24p trailer.
They did. It was
fumbled the bar hard. Oh my god.
It was bad. I saw like that scene. It's burned in my brain that scene.
All those tickets. All those blurs and pixels when he's on the horse. I'm like, oh my god, this is awful. And then just that like that how they do like the fake mask on stuntmen. It's like you just see this big giant box on top of that Harrison Ford on the horse. It's like you can just see that it's fake.
Yeah,
it's even worse because it's all pixelated with all the ticker tape.
And also his co-star is Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who I don't like.
Oh, that's who that is. Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
Yes, who was she was the robot. She was the social justice droid
from Solo. Yes.
So and over here she's known for a show called Fleabag, which is just it's one of those characters a bit like Beetlejuice where she plays a nasty unlikable character, that you don't ever like, but you're kind of meant to like. And I'm like, well, I don't. You're not doing anything for me. So, and also she did a bunch of rewrites on No Time to Die, which just that script
Oh,
is
you have Vendetta. Okay, so it's in the
yeah,
blood.
yeah.
Okay, so it affects you personally. Oh,
Yeah, it's personal. It's
it's
personal.
personal. It's
Um,
personal.
Shane says, "I'm a Temple of Doom truther. They should have done. They should have just done another. Oops, jumped. Just not done another indie, mostly in one location. Yeah, that could have worked. That could have worked. I mean,
Mhm.
I guess. Yeah, I guess the first and third kind of do a good amount of globetrotting, which is whereas the second one is just sort of
Yeah,
in Indian stuff.
I
Yeah,
need to I need to rewatch those movies because I like the third one. I'm kind of iffy on the second one. I think I'm growing. That's growing on me over the years.
I don't
Because
dislike it as much as I used to.
yeah,
It's fine. It's fun. It's still
hmm
fun. And it's not one of those things where like with Star Wars where like the new sequels make the prequels look good. It's not
hmm
really like the fourth one made the second one better. It's just it's not as good as the first one or the third one, but it's still pretty good,
hmm
I think.
yeah.
And you gotta honestly the new one they must be kicking themselves by not bringing Short Round back.
Oh, you know they're gonna do a reshoot where he's like a little cameo. Easily squeeze it in.
Probably.
He's gonna be like the freaking Dan Aykroyd on the phone call in Ghostbusters Afterlife. To squeeze that scene in,
Yeah.
throw it
Yeah.
in.
Wait, was Dan Aykroyd not in
No,
Afterlife?
I'm just thinking like a similar scene to that, where you just a day is filming, like an hour. They bring him in
Right.
and they
Right.
film it, and
Yeah.
Harrison Ford won't cut his hair because it's longer.
Yeah. Um yeah, so what those are the films that came to mind when I was
Hmm.
thinking about sequels that I would have been fine without. Um I can't think
Jurassic
of any others, but I
Jurassic
mean,
Park, kind of Back to the Future. Like I don't know.
well,
As much as like I like the trilogy, I feel like it's not needed. As much as I like it, as iconic as the Back to the Future trilogy is, that's almost like a one and done movie.
that's interesting. It's true. It's true. But but is it because 2 and 3 aren't good? For me, it's like when the films start getting bad, I'm like, we should have stopped here.
I don't know, like even though as sweet as it is and how cute it is, I always thought the third one was the weakest.
It is the weakest. I agree.
And kind of even the second one's kind of weak. It doesn't. Here's the thing with those movies: it's like there's so many. Like the plot moves so fast,
Mhm.
and that the plot is actually decent. You
Yeah.
don't realize how weak they actually are.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like those movies get by on the technology and the quick pace and the likability of the main characters, but in actuality, those are kind of weak sequels. In
Yeah.
actuality, if you were to
Yeah.
look at them,
Yeah. 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 I can't
agree
say I
to a certain extent.
disagree.
Yeah, yeah.
I think you make a pretty good argument there. Yeah. Shane says John Wick should have never got any sequels. I've only I think I've seen the second one, but I only really remember the first one.
I like them all. I'm weak. I'm a weak man.
I'm weak.
I'm a weak
I'm
man,
weak.
Shane Ford. I like all three of them. I like the deaf girl in the second one with the mirrors, and then the third one when they're doing the samurai shit, and then like the two guys just like walk away because they're like, "All right, we've survived John Wick. This was good enough. We'll walk
Yeah.
away." I
Yeah.
kind of like that silly shit. I like the world building where it kind of gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I liked him. I like him enough.
It's fair enough. Biffer says this. Am I reading this right, Biffer? You say no Alien and Aliens and get rid of so what? No Alien franchise and get rid of Aliens 3, Alien versus Predator, Prometheus, and Covenant.
I think
What?
he wants to nuke him from the freaking planet, nuke him from existence.
Alien is good.
Good. Oh
And I
my
like.
god!
Go on.
I just thought of a sequel that I would want to see that they never really did. Rocky Horror. I want to see Rocky Horror sequel.
Okay.
Yeah. There you go. Because what do you call O'Bannon? There's like an O'Bannon who wrote Alien, and that's why that sparked that memory. Like, oh shit, there was an O'Bannon who wrote Rocky Horror. I don't know. I like that weird ass kind of like that world of Rocky Horror, and I like the musical aspect. And I feel like they could have done a sequel. They kind of did. It's called Shock Treatment, but none of the actors came back because I think legally they couldn't do it.
Right.
But like, I don't know. I want to see Rocky Horror sequel. I kind of want to see that again. I want to see
Yeah.
that world.
Shane says Jurassic World 2 has good action. I dig it all over, but I hated 3.
Dominion sucked.
They all suck. I'm sorry.
No, stop it. You're lying. You don't
I'm
say
just,
that.
I just
You're hurting me.
I did not. I can't remember if I saw Jurassic World in the cinema.
I saw
I think.
Jurassic World 5 times in the cinema. I loved it.
Wait, no. Oh, wait. Sorry. I saw Jay. Oh, right. Sorry. He meant John Wick. My apologies.
Oh my god.
Right. I
Now I
saw
embarrassed myself in
JW.
the
My brain
podcast.
automatically goes to Jurassic World. I'm
I know,
scarred by
right?
those shit movies.
JW is Jurassic World. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
No Jurassic movies after Lost World. No Jurassic movies ever. If he's gonna nuke Alien from existence, I want to nuke Jurassic Park from existence.
No. I do agree with Shane here saying no Jurassic World movies after Lost World. I like Lost World.
So do I, but it's kind of boring. I don't want to be Charlton Heston and Beneath the Planet of the Apes. Just nuke it. Ugh. Doomsday.
Yes.
Nuke the
I
whole
mean,
series.
yeah. Wait. So you would nuke the whole thing? Would you really?
I think so.
Really?
I think I'd be willing to do that.
But why?
I love it so much. I want to get rid of it.
Fair enough. I would get rid of, if I were to nuke a whole franchise, it would be the current new Godzilla movies. Godzilla,
Yeah.
Kong versus God, all of it gone.
Yeah.
Gone.
Yeah.
Don't need it. I would also nuke the new Star Trek movies. As much as I like Chris Pine in those and Zoe Saldana, I love they did pretty well in those roles.
If they never made a sequel to the 2009 one,
that would have been much better. I could have been like, that was a fun one-off thing.
Yeah. Same thing with Jurassic Park. How about we won't nuke Jurassic Park? We'll leave that first one.
Well, yes, yeah. I'm because I did like 2009 Star Trek. But
it's cute.
It worked for a one-off. It worked for a one-off, but it didn't need to be the new template for everything Star Trek related.
Or reboots in general, because I feel like everyone saw that and said, let's do the same thing with our reboot. And everyone basically did what Star Trek 2009 did for the next 20 years.
Literally. Well, not literally. It's not been 20 years, but it does feel that way. Like, I remember when I used to do a blog, I did after The Force Awakens came out, I did a whole ranty blog post about JJ. Just like he's just not the guy for these kind of sequels.
Anything.
He has no original ideas. He just lifts and takes what was done before and just repackages it. And I'm like, come on, man. Like, and Super 8 is just E.T. and the Goonies. You're not original, bro.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting plot. Okay, so I rewatched Super 8 recently, and he doesn't get the concept of what makes the Spielberg movies work.
No.
He really doesn't get it. Because I'm watching the movie, I'm like, everything you're doing is wrong. Like, like you think you could do these things and make it work, but it's just like it's not that. Like, there's an awful line in that movie because when the kids are sneaking back into town and like all the tanks are going off and there's gunfire. There was a cheesy little line where there's a guy, an army man. He's like, "Oh my god, all the weapons are going off for no reason at all. We have no control." Spielberg would never do that.
No,
ever. And the thing that also doesn't work about it is like the movie should be from the point of view of the kids. No adults. You never see the adults. You have no idea what the adults are doing. But every 5 minutes, we cut to Kyle Chandler being upset about the town.
Yep. He's like, "Where's my tomorrow's newspaper today?"
Yes, where's my tomorrow newspaper? Where's my fake news mustache from King Kong? Where's my Friday Night Lights?
Yeah, I agree. That is something that absolutely bugs me about that movie as well. It's like I don't care about the adults. Like, it just doesn't. It doesn't work. That's not the Goonies. You think of the Goonies, and that has nothing to. The adults are just. They don't matter.
I think the best thing about JJ is that he kept Mission Impossible alive on life support.
Yes, and arguably his movie is the worst.
No, two. Two's
Two
still
is the
worst.
two is the worst, but
Because two basically
his
killed the franchise, but his was like clear
yeah,
and like doo
yeah,
doo until
yeah,
2011 when the masterpiece came out,
yes,
Ghost
yeah,
Protocol.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He what I should how I should clarify that is his is the worst of the revitalized Mission
Yes,
Impossible.
it's a fucking pilot. It looks like a TV show.
Yes, it's there were certain there's a couple of moments in there that I do enjoy,
Mhm.
but again, because he's an unoriginal hack. Once more, we are getting dirty MI agent who's gone rogue once again. The guy who plays the
Once
blue guy,
again,
the
Captain
the
Manhattan or
Captain
Mr.
Manhattan
Manhattan.
is another MI. It's like, well, that was number one, that was number two. We've seen this for 3 films in a row, guys. I used to complain about that with Phil. I used to be like, the MI franchises when there was only 3 of them out. I was like, it's kind of a they have one plot
It was
line.
their con, right?
Mm.
They always repeat con over and over again in these Star Trek movies.
Yeah. It's like, okay, well, it's another MI. God, they got a lot of rogue agents in this in this business. Like, can you maybe I don't know, do some psyche vowels to weed these people out before you hire them?
No, no. You
Like,
can't weed out John Voight. You can't weed him out. He's a good liar.
I guess. But I mean, it worked for one. I loved one. I love one.
I can't
Um,
control the elevator. I don't know what's going on.
I know, I love it. I'm trying. Nothing
I'm
is
trying
happening.
so hard. Nothing's happening. John
Great.
Voight, fuck, he's so good. Damn
It
it.
is great. He's shooting himself. Oh God. That was
Oh
a
my
good
god. You know what I found out? Because I always tell you my mom didn't like Tom Cruise movies, but I found out recently
one.
after rewatching the first Mission Impossible, she's
Mm.
been referencing Mission Impossible for like the last fucking 30 years. The Knox list. Whenever we would come up with a list to go grocery shopping, she's like, "What's the Knox list? What's on?"
Oh
the
my
Knox
God,
list?"
that no way.
Yeah, she's been referencing. I'm like, "What the fuck?" I said, "Mommy, you've been referencing shit." Yeah, that's where I got it from. The Knox list. I'm like, "Oh my god!"
Oh,
So that's our that's our movie reference that I didn't even know was a movie reference. I thought she was just calling that whatever that.
that's
The
good.
Knox list. I was like, "Holy shit!" She's been
That's
referencing Mission Impossible
funny.
for 30
Oh,
years.
that's funny. Knox. Oh, that's great. That's great.
Because that's a perfect like inside joke if you know it. Like,
Yeah,
what's the Knox list?
yeah. And I tell you what, I'm so excited that they're bringing back connections to the first movie.
I know, right?
Telling you. Oh God, it's gonna be this year's Top Gun is gonna be Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol Part 1.
Yes. Oh, and you just mentioned Maverick. You know, it's a sequel that I want to see, and I think they're working on it because they just interviewed her and she says I can't talk about it.
Oh,
Princess Diaries 3, bro. I want that to be the Maverick of
okay.
childhood movies.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen these movies.
What? You never seen Princess Diaries?
I
Why?
don't think so.
Why?
I don't know. It
They were
felt
from our
too.
era.
I know. It just felt too girly.
It's not girly. It's like very good.
Is it? Isn't Anne Hathaway in it? Isn't that the
Anne Hathaway, Julie Andrews. They're
Julie Andrews? Yeah.
fantastic.
Yes. And she's
Chris Pine's in the sequel with Stan Lee, so you'll like it.
in the second one. That they did.
Yep.
Oh,
Chris Pine and Stan Lee are in the sequel.
how is
So-
Stan Lee in the movie?
He's got a fucking cameo for some reason. I don't know
That's
why.
so weird.
I think that like with those two elements, you'd be like, I love this movie. Chris Pine and Stan Lee.
Speaking of Stan Lee, there was I remember when they were doing Guardians of the Galaxy 2 or something like that. One of these later films before Stan Lee died.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a comment by James Gunn where he said something like they filmed a whole bunch of different cameos.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking, did they like bust out a bunch of cameos to like have him show up in future films because they thought he was going to like croak and they just wanted this stockpile of cameos? But then obviously he died and that didn't happen. But I feel like that's what they had done. I feel like they had filmed a bunch of cameos and there's a bunch of cameos sitting on a hard drive at Marvel HQ.
I think so. They probably did for like the few that were coming out. Like
Mhm.
Captain Marvel, I think he's just like sitting on the bench and it's like a close-up of him. I don't think you ever see Brie Larson and him in the same shot.
That's true.
And then the part in the car he says, world peace. You could film that in the day.
That might be it. That might,
Because they're so out of context.
Yeah.
You could place them everywhere.
Yeah. That was probably it.
That's probably still true. I believe
Yeah.
that.
Shane also says, not sure if it technically counts as a sequel, but Punisher Warzone was unnecessary. True.
True.
It's a reboot.
Yes, because Thomas Jane was awesome, and I wish they brought him back.
Yeah.
And I think that was just like an issue where no one could agree on a script, so they're like, "Fuck it, we'll fire all you guys. We're going to just do another one."
Yeah. There's a part of me that wants to go back and rewatch Punisher and Daredevil and see if they are just
Compatible.
to see. Just to
Yeah.
see. Just to see.
Punisher's okay because it's literally just like a low budget action movie.
Yeah.
So it gets by that because it's low budget, it's action, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Nothing really to complain about. And it's like basically like lifting panels from the books, like literally. Like everything in that movie was from the books.
Yeah.
So like I love the Punisher 2004. Love it.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that movie. And I wish like Thomas Jane sort of got his sequel, that little short he did, Dirty Laundry. Perfect. That was enough for me.
I didn't see that.
You should check it out. It's like 10, 15 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Dirty Laundry. So watch those back to back. The
Yeah.
Punisher.
Because it's funny because like I also don't hate Ang Lee's Hulk.
I know everyone kind of hates it, and it's like, nah. Eric Bana, he was working on something, and I like how they made it like comic panels. I know people complain about it, but like it's interesting. I liked it.
I liked it too.
I
mean, the things I admit is it's too long. It could be shorter. Could be shorter. And B, I agree that the look of the Hulk could have had a little bit more work.
Yeah,
I
feel like if he was like Hulk in 2012, because I feel like Hulk 2012 found the balance of the ripped Hulk and the Ang Lee Hulk, and they mashed them together for that, and that was perfect.
Yeah.
If
they had done that, I think it would have been a little better.
Yeah, if he was like more toned, because I feel like he's a little bit fat, like fat muscle. If he was a bit toner.
Yes.
But not like crazy ripped like 2008. That's like too ripped. Like that's
they went for like Macho Man, like good looking Hulk, which was weird. He's not meant to be good looking, guys.
No. He's supposed to be like a Frankenstein monster, basically.
Yes. Yeah. And they went for the monster look with 2012. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'm down with that. But no, I think the 2003 one is good. It's great music as well. Terrific.
I feel like Daredevil could have gotten a decent sequel.
Maybe
do like a different tone. Keep that same cast, and I think it would have worked.
Yeah. I need to go back. I feel like I should just for fun go back and see if that is as I know that's probably goofy, but is it
the
as
director's
goofy?
cut is okay. I think it's better than the theatrical.
Maybe I'll hunt that down.
Hunt it down. Hunt down the director's cut of Daredevil. Because that was the original tone they wanted to do, but then the studio got its hands on it.
Right.
So I do the director's cut and then watch Punisher 2004 and then Dirty Laundry.
Yeah. You know what's really funny? I don't know why I had this dream, but I had a dream that the Fox Fantastic Four appeared in one of the new Marvel movies.
I kind of want them back. I kind of. Like, I don't mind it. I don't mind it.
It would just be so weird. But I do think they're going to try and cram as much crap into this
multiverse crap.
Yeah. I think I think someone sat back and said, we have, after Endgame, like, we got nothing. And then they were like, we got all these old actors who got nothing to do. That's going to save us for this next phase where we got nothing to do.
What's Andrew Garfield doing? Nothing.
Yep.
Dig him up.
Yeah, I think
I bet they did. I bet they went to the graveyard and start digging, and they got Andrew Garfield out of the ground.
Yeah. There's so many rumors that like some of the Fox X-Men and people like that are turning up in the, what is it meant to be called? One of the.
Well, they keep saying that. They said that for Multiverse of Madness. They didn't do that. Because I remember when we talked about earlier last year in our podcast, or some podcast we did, I remember I said they're going to bring back Thomas Jane. They never did.
But I do think that they might bring in. I mean, Wolverine's already coming back for Deadpool. We've already had Toby and Andrew. I'm like, they'll probably bring them back again. They'll probably.
Andrew's doing nothing.
Right. Nothing.
What's Toby doing? Nothing.
He hasn't done anything since Great Gatsby.
Well, he was in Babylon.
He hasn't done anything since Babylon. Have you seen Babylon? I've heard so many mixed things about it that I'm like, is it worth watching or should I just leave it? Because it's quite long, isn't it?
I used to be into keeping up with these Oscar movies, but I think the last couple of years where I'm just like, I don't care.
No. But
so I didn't see Babylon, and I didn't see, what was the other one? Whale? Didn't see it.
Yeah. Toby was in Babylon. Yes. Have you seen RRR?
I heard Twitter keeps talking about it. I haven't seen it.
Go watch it.
Damn it, you've seen it too? I feel like this is like the Pod People, Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
I mean, I only saw it recently, and just to give you some insight. So, I was really keen to watch it because I was hearing good things. Let's give it a go.
Yeah.
And then I watched a few minutes of it on Netflix and thought, this is great. Told Claire about it, and I was like, well, let's watch it.
Okay.
She normally falls asleep quite early because, like, being pregnant, all that kind of stuff, right? She will start to fall asleep at like 9 o'clock at night. We put this 3-hour movie on at 8 o'clock, right? No, wait. I think it was like 8:30 or something like that.
Oh my God, even worse.
Yeah, right. And there was zero dozing. It was glued to the screen the whole time. It's literally one of the. If I had seen it last year, I would have been praising it as much as Top Gun. Because it is a terrific action movie. Loved it. I think it's worth seeing. It's what Hollywood used to be able to do with their action movies, and now they're too scared for whatever reason. But go watch it.
I'm scared.
I don't
know, Luke. I'm scared.
Do it.
I'm scared.
Do it. Shane says if they do bring back Fox 4, then Human Torch will be on fire the whole time, like Sandman and Far From Home, because they don't want to acknowledge Chris Evans playing both. It's funny because he was on fire in my dream.
Oh, in my dream he was on fire. Yeah, he's just a voice.
Yes. That Sandman stuff was so embarrassing.
Oh my God, it's so great. Spider-Man, it's me, Flint Marko from Spider-Man 3. Don't you recognize me? That's like literally the dialogue. What do you mean you're not my Spider-Man? You're not my Spider-Man from Spider-Man 3 2007? It's me, Thomas Hayden Church, who played Sandman.
It was so embarrassing. It was so embarrassing.
And then they just reused footage from the movie. I remember watching. I'm like, oh wow, he looks the same. But I was like, wait a minute, that's just reused footage. Oh my God!
I saw it straight away. I was like, shit, that's the same with the lizard. The lizard's detransformation is straight from Spider-Man 1, Amazing Spider-Man 1.
They learned their lesson from Rogue One and just said, fuck it, we're gonna reuse old footage.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Oh my God, I can't believe. Oh God, it was one of those things where it's like, Far From Home. It's honestly, it's not a good movie. It's not a good movie. It becomes fun for the last 40 minutes when the other Spider-Men show up, right?
It becomes fun when Dafoe shows up.
No, I disagree. Those moments, the scenes that include him are fun, but you have to wade through a lot of boring scenes to get back to his scenes, which is what I didn't like. Like he first shows up and then you got to deal with Doctor Strange bullshit, and then so it's just I got to get
through this crap.
Yeah, I gotta get through too much crap, and those stupid kids, man, they never shut up. They never shut up. They talk over each other at 1,000,000 miles an hour, like they're in a goddamn Gilmore Girls episode, and I'm just like, will you shut the fuck up? Like, just have a conversation, a normal conversation, Ned. Ned. But so it was one of those things where, like, I liked the last 40 minutes because the other Spider-Men were there, and I only liked it when the other Spider-Men were talking and leading the story. Anytime Toby, and what's his face? Not Toby. What's the new kid's called? Andrew? Not Andrew.
Tom.
What's the Tom? Anytime he was like
Tom,
whining,
Dick, Harry.
Anytime he was on there whining and crying about crap, or Aunt May saying "Great power comes great responsibility" because they realized 4 movies
They've
in,
never said it.
like, although they hinted at it. So they hinted at it in no way. What's the first one? Homecoming.
Never
They
seen
hint
those two.
they hinted at it in Homecoming, where he makes a sort of vague comment where his uncle says something along those lines, right? Because they were
Never seen
clearly
it.
trying to avoid all of it. But and then they were like, well, I guess we really need to say it now. We'll have Aunt May say it. It's like, oh god.
I've been seeing those two Spider-Man movies. I skipped out.
You're not missing much. You're not missing much.
I know, because they totally like swept it under the rug in the first 5 minutes of this movie. Like, oh, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. God.
No. Completely useless. But anyway, there we go, guys.
Is it over? Oh yeah, we reached 3 hours. Oh my god.
We have reached 3 hours.
We did it again, Luke. I made you do it.
I know. I think it's like, because I have such long long episodes, like it's gonna take forever to build an audience.
But we were here.
I know, right? I need to get better at just having a concise, like, hour-long.
We could have wrapped it up at 2 because we finished.
We did. We finished right at 2, but then we just kept talking, and
we kept talking.
I'm not gonna stop. That's fine.
Yeah, we kept talking and one unbroken sentence, moving from topic to topic, and no one could have a chance to interrupt. It was quite. Oh gosh, shit!
What's that from?
It was quite hypnotic.
Hypnotic. There we go.
It's from Star Trek.
Was
he
it?
just kept talking, and one can.
That's it.
Unbroken sentence.
That's what I was trying to. Yes, that's it. Picard in the shuttle on their way back to where they find the Romulan ship and it's all frozen. That's yes. Kept talking and talking.
On one unbroken sentence, no one had a chance to interrupt. It was quite hypnotic.
Oh gosh, that was funny. And then when Troy's like, "Oh yes, he wanted to, have sex with me," and Data's like,
"Did you have sex with him?" I thought you were interested in him. Why didn't you?
God, I love that show. I love Star Trek.
I only know it because of Red Letter Media.
That's fair enough.
I watched the first season. I'll give it that. I did watch.
Of Next Generation.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know. I never got to the second season.
I've always told people, like, look, start with season 3. Honestly, season 1 or 2. It's like when I talk to people to watch The Office. I'm like, never watch the first season of The Office. Always start with season. Always start with season 2.
Always start with season 2 and start with Office Olympics because that's where I started, and that's fine.
Yeah, because it's
because season 1 is so fucking rough. Oh my god, because they're just literally doing the original show.
They are.
That's all they're doing, and it's just painful.
It is. I never ever go back and rewatch them. I always start with season 2, even like now. But like, and thing is, season 1 and 2. I mean, you've listened to all the Red Letter Media stuff. Like, it's true. There are good things in 1 and 2, but like, if you're new to it, just start with 3. And just carry on. Like it's way more enjoyable because there are some really, like, it's finding its feet in those first 2 seasons, and then hits its stride. And I mean, I would say season.
My battery's about to die. Sorry, we gotta wrap it up.
All right, I was like, season 3 to 5 are pretty strong, and 6 or 7 have some ups and downs. But yeah. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. We will see you sometime, someplace.
Subscribe to I Want My TV Now.
Oh yeah, subscribe to I Want My TV Now. That's
I Want My TV Now.
And subscribe to this channel. Damn it! And his camera died. With that, I'm signed. Oh wait, you still there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You can hear me. I'm here. I am here. I'm
All
just
right.
a voice. I'm like Fantasia right now.
He's just a voice. He's
just a voice.
Shane says, "Well done. Enjoyed it. Thanks for tuning in."
Thank you, Shane.
And
Thank
Biffer and anyone else who might have been lingering. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, we will do this again sometime.
We have to do it.
All right.
We're going to talk about pirates.
Yes, we will do a pirate episode. We will talk about pirates.
I have no idea how, but I just want to talk about it with you. I don't know why.
I
think like you're a big enough fan of it, like I am.
Yeah. No, it's a weird franchise.
Oh my god, I am Clarence, aren't I? That's
Clarence.
Hilarious.
Which one's
Clarence? I see Shane Ford's comment. He says I turned into Clarence.
Oh right, sorry, I was off.
It's from It's a Wonderful Life when they're talking stars.
Yes.
I can't see anything. Oh, that's right. You haven't got your wings yet.
Right on, guys. I'm
Ward's
gonna
awesome. That's a great
we're gonna
reference.
we're gonna go now.
No, we can go 4 more hours.
I'm just gonna be a disembodied voice.
All right, we'll go. Okay,
All right.
it's good time.